Friends, I have a real hardcore treat for you. So, as you know, this channel is all about finding friends, making friends, being good socially, like being able to create amazing connections. And a very good friend of mine, his name is Desmond Soon, he and I did an interview quite a while ago, a few years ago. It was long before I had a great microphone. So, the sound will be shit, but I wanted to share it with you this week because it is such an amazing skill set to learn from him, and he is such an expert at it. So, please excuse the low video quality, please excuse the low sound quality. I will post regular, highly edited, fast-paced videos very soon again, but this week I just wanted this to share with you because I recently found it and I just don't want to take away that value from you. So please enjoy. Welcome to this fantastic interview. I want to introduce you today to a very, very dear friend, a close friend of mine. He's like a brother to me. His name is Desmond Soon, and one thing that I can tell you about him is he is the king of forming connections, the absolute undisputed master of knowing how to connect to people in a very deep way, even with people that are hard to reach. And now today, he runs several companies. He's a business coach. He helps companies grow and scale. And he has an abundant network of professionals that usually you would never even get to see. But by working with him, you get access to so much experience and so many people. This is only possible because he is so good at building this long-lasting, valuable connections that, especially in business nowadays, it's hard to keep that, right? Like when you're in business, it's very, very hard to keep the friendship alive and make sure you separate that. And he's awesome for that. And so I brought him on to teach you how to build those relationships that last so you can have more power in your life. Desmond, thank you so much for joining us and welcome to the stage.
Adam, thank you very much. It's my honor and a privilege to be here. I'm actually very proud of you and how fast and how much you've grown from the times that we first connected. You know, when you first came in as a student, a mentee, and we share a mutual mentor as well too. And that's part of the reason, as you mentioned, I have all these connections. We'll dive into that. I'll tell the stories. I'll make sure that whoever is watching is going to get absolute value, some action items, no matter where you are, even if you're an introvert or an extrovert, or maybe you never even thought about this. I'm going to introduce you to a new concept if they're willing to learn as well too. So Adam, I appreciate you sharing the stage and allowing me to share on some of my experiences. And my intention is that members who are watching this are going to benefit from it and be able to take some action to produce some results.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. In this case, let's just jump right into it. And by the way, guys, if you like what you hear from Desmond, you can watch him on his YouTube channel and on his Instagram as well. He shares a lot of valuable tips, valuable tricks, and hacks that make you a better entrepreneur, make you already like a better person as well by the things that you see in this background, the lots of books that he has already read. So he has a few good pointers on where to go, and he helped me a lot as well. So in that case, let's just jump right into it, Desmond, because I noticed right today, people struggle more than ever to build like valuable relationships. Everything seems just to be so superficial and ends on a moment's notice. Like, why do you think that is?
Well, maybe let's go back even a little bit here, Adam. I want to actually start off by sharing a bit about my story, just very quickly here. And this in itself is a lesson. So everybody wants to talk about themselves. Now, how many of you have actually heard of the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People? Type in the chat, let us know. Yeah, comment, raise your hand. Great, fantastic. That's Dale Carnegie. It's a age-old concept and principles, right? About do unto others as you want them to do unto you. So just if you haven't read the book, I highly encourage you to go get it. Maybe even Adam, if you can share a link or something, point them in the right direction, make it easier for them to download it or just even get access to it. Many times you can even check out an audiobook. It's floating around the internet. Just Google it. I'm sure you'll find it. And there's many different versions of it. There's some new iterations for the current modern age versus the original book. But I would get the original and also get the latest edition as well too. Now, the reason I mentioned that is I'm going to circle back and close off this loop here. I was born in Singapore, and I'm the second child in a 3-child family. So in fact, I like to use this. I've got an older brother that's about 18 months apart from me, and then I've got a baby sister that's 10 years different from me. So by the age of 10, I had a young baby sister that I was learning how to have to take care of. And being the middle child, I was always the black sheep of the family. I got in trouble, drugs, police. I gave my parents a lot of stress. I was the first ones in the car accidents, almost died. All these different troubles along the way. And as I was growing up in my teenage years, I realized how fast my life was going in a very negative direction. And I made a switch. I became a pilot at a very young age through the Air Cadets, and then joined the military for a short period of time there, learned how to be a sharpshooter, learned how to do recon. And then I was introduced to network marketing. Like I think many individuals have been introduced to it. I'm not going to speak negatively or positively. It's neither or. But what I do want to say is that was the first time I was introduced to personal development books. So those personal development books, I was introduced to How to Win Friends and Influence People, Magic of Thinking Big, Hung by the Tongue, As a Man Thinketh, and several others, even Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. So those books, up to that point, I'd always read, fantasy books. I'd read J.R. Tolkien. I'd read, Lord of the Rings. There was no Harry Potter at the time, but I was reading, Dungeons and Dragons and these kind of novels that were fantasy books, not actual personal development books. I'd never even read Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad. So I was a teenager. I was in my teens, late teens, 18, 19, and well, as a young man, what do we all want to do? Well, we want to pick up girls, right? We want to go up to nightclubs, we're going to parties, we're going to college parties, we're going to, friends' house parties. And being an immigrant, I was born in Singapore and we immigrated to Vancouver when I was 12 years old. And then I grew up here. So I had an identity shift. Being this Singaporean kid, and even as a Singaporean, I wasn't your typical Singaporean. My dad worked for Singapore Airlines. So we traveled a lot. I was quite international, even as a Singaporean, and I saw international cultures. So I was already exposed to traveling at a young age. And it made me curious because when we traveled at a young age, I was the kid that was fearless. I would talk to strangers and, people would be standing at a bus stop and I would just talk to a stranger, say hi to him. Or we'd go to a Denny's. I remember in those days, we traveled Denny's in the United States. And, they have this like waitress come and say hi, and her name was Sally or something. And like, hi, young man. And I'd be like, hello, how's it going? And I'd ask her questions. And so I had this confidence. So now if you're an introvert and you're watching this right now, you're wondering, well, that's not me. You can't relate to that story. Just hang on a second. I'll close the loop and I'll show you how you can also do it or why you should do it, right? And for me, what happened was I realized that I enjoyed talking to people, but I never had any formal training on it. Fast forward, I'm 18 years old now, and I want to pick up girls. And so what do I do? Well, I get the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, and I wasn't going to use it for business. I used it because I wanted to have a party trick so that when I showed up at parties, I remembered people's names. And being the Asian immigrant kid in a predominant, in Canada, we have a lot of immigrants, but it's still predominantly a Caucasian culture. I always felt a bit left out. And there were the cute girls and people there, and I needed a way to get their attention. Being Asian, I wasn't like the big, football players and muscular, tall Caucasian guys and basketball players. No, I was, at the time I was 5'4", and I'm now 5'8". I've only grown maybe about 4 inches in all the years. So I've stayed relatively, average size. So I needed to have some upper edge aside from physical. And I was a gymnastics gold medalist and I played rugby. But even rugby, I was a scrum half. I was the smallest guy, right, on the team. And so I needed to have wit. I needed to have something that got attention. Reading that book taught me the skills, and it also introduced me to a topic which I never even thought about, but that's having a mentor. Dale Carnegie became one of my first mentors in book format, which then I'm going to leave another open loop. Many of you, this is another lesson, a golden nugget, is have a mentor in your life. But wait a minute, hold on, Desmond, I can't afford a mentor. I don't know how to find a mentor. I've got hundreds of mentors here right behind me. These are all my mentors. And so that's why I enjoy it. Behind all these books, there's many more books as well too. They're all mentors. If you read and you implement, and I treated books as if, when I was reading it, as if I was sitting down with a mentor and he's talking to me or she's talking to me, and I'm actually learning from them. So I did enjoy it. There was no audiobooks back then, but I did enjoy reading. And eventually when audiobooks came out, I also enjoyed the combination of audiobooks and reading together. Okay, so that's lesson number 1. Next, why do people not, let me answer the question, why do people not connect these days with people? I think a lot of it has to do with social media. We're living in a time of pandemic as well too, where now social distancing and everything, the world is going through a paradigm shift in the way we interact with individuals. But the core principles of what's put in How to Win Friends and Influence People are still very, very important. Remembering people's names, not arguing, smiling, right? These are all common principles that you can actually implement right away. So I took an interest to it. It became my superpower to start using it. And I picked up girls and I was able, and people always thought, Desmond, how do you go to a party or how do you sit down at a dinner in a group kind of speed dating area? And how did you pick up people? Well, because I just applied those principles in the book. There's no secret formula except I applied what was in the book. That was question number 1. And that's how I did it. Adam, hopefully that answers your question. I can go deeper into it, but we will cover it. I know as you ask me more questions, I'll go into deeper how-tos.
Awesome. So then just to put together what you just said and what I took from it, taking notes on this as well, is basically the problem you see is why people can't connect is because they don't apply the basic principles that are needed in connecting with people. Be it even just as simple as remembering people's names or being it as smiling and truly listening to people. And based on
Everyone's
that,
consumed. Everyone's consumed with their own stuff. They're in their social media world. They're worrying about their problems. These days, people are more busy than they ever were. The pace of life has picked up. We have so much bombarding us. We have so many priorities pulling us in all different directions. You've got WhatsApp chats, you got Telegram chats, you got TikTok, you got Instagram, you got Facebook, you've got Netflix, you got Disney Channel, you've got Prime, you got all these things all around you, and it's consuming. So people are spending less time to get to know each other. We are spending less time on the core principles of understanding and trust me, it's important to know other people because I leverage social capital. I leverage human capital. Many of us have heard about leverage, right? In the finance world, you want to leverage money, you want to leverage time. Well, I leverage people. Believe it or not, I leverage relationships to grow. I'm a connector. It's an identity that I've embodied. And this is another key lesson here is the identity. If you don't see yourself as a person who likes people, you then it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. You have to first care and like people, and not in a manipulative way. You're not using people per se, but we all use each other. Let's just face it. In the world, we all use each other's skills for something or another. I use my barber to cut my hair because they're good at it, right? I use the car washing guys. I use the landscaping people because they can do it. But you want to leverage relationships because it opens doors for you. It's an exponential way for you to get out there rather than you doing it, leveraging your own skills.
So basically what you're saying is that the most important thing is to connect to people based on true care, true interest, making sure that you take attention and you take, say, like a benign attention. That basically when you say you're a connector and you use people for their skills, it sounds to me not like you're trying to accumulate as much things as you possibly being the puppet master, but rather it's giving them opportunities to shine and making sure that you build a network where everybody's benefiting from each other. Did I get this right?
Correct. In fact, I had a mentor and he was a very, very smart. He was almost like the CEO of this major Fortune 500 consulting firm. It's one of the big ones up there, the big names, right? You can think of like Bain and Company, Accenture. You think of like McKinsey, and he was and this was in Japan, and he was the senior, like the VP. Right now, there was another CEO that was above him, and that was the expat from head office that was put there. Who was like, but really in country in Japan, he was the head. And one of the things that he said to me, and he's a very intelligent consultant who works with like major companies, BMW, supply chains and everything else. And he said, Desmond, you are the bridge. Be the bridge. Now, this is a key thing here for those watching this. Not everyone is going to resonate with this, and that's fine. But if you are open-minded, I'm going to give you a superpower that is going to be worth millions of dollars to you if you use it correctly. Or forget about the $1 million. What if it's just worth an extra $100,000 to you? What if it's just worth an extra $50,000 to you? What if it's worth you meeting that relationship that you're looking for, that person that's going to fill? Maybe it's not a dollar value. Maybe it's an intrinsic thing. Maybe it's something that you meet your love of your life. Maybe it's a friend, a best friend that you don't even know yet. Because guess what? I bet you, if you think of it, just follow me back in time here. If you go back in time, think of your best friend. At one time, your best friend was a stranger. You did not know that stranger. Now think of it. Had you not met that stranger, had you not developed that relationship with that best friend, where would you be today? How empty would your life be? So all I'm teaching you to do is develop best friends, similar best friends in different areas. And it's always with a win-win collaborative mindset. And which then leads to, I know some of other questions that Adam has, is giving value, right? And when you give value first, I'm a person that's brought up with a Catholic background initially. I don't normally talk about religion, but maybe that set the stage for, kind of the good ethics in life. As I grew up, I became an adult, I started choosing my own belief systems, which is not always religious. It's more, I would say it's very universal precepts and universal concepts of do unto others as you want them to do unto you, or do unto others as they want to be done unto. And I got to give credit to that to Coach Alex Mendoza. He's one of my mentors as well too, who taught me that principle. And so you want to do unto others as they want to be done unto them. When you do that, there's a reciprocation. Not everyone's going to reciprocate, but they feel you've given value. Now they're saying, well, Desmond, what do you need? So I have a lot of people around the world, whenever I'm in trouble, and I have been in trouble for a couple of times in my life, when I needed help, I reached out. They were saying, sure, Desmond, I'm there to help you. So I've been building up that credit over time. Now, I'm gonna just give you one last key point here, and then I'm gonna pass the mic back to Adam because I know he's got a list of questions here. I want to talk about the mindset, first of all. How many of you know someone who says, I'm bad with numbers? Maybe it's you. Or how many of you know someone who says, someone says, oh, I'm bad with names, but I'm good with faces, but I'm bad with names. Okay, so they're saying that, they're making a statement. Now, I don't want to go down the whole tangent here of subconscious mind, but they're subconscious. I want you to understand, this is not a theory, this is an actual science. Your subconscious mind is almost like a child. It's listening to you all the time through your ears. It's just and anyone who's a parent listening to this, you know what I'm talking about. It's like having a small child, they're like a sponge and they're listening to everything you say. The only thing is your child, this little child that's with you, is like a genie. It's like and I'm going to give that credit of that to my other mentor, Dan Locke, who talks about this genie that you have. So imagine you have this small young child that's got magic powers, and it just listens very innocently to what you say. And whatever you say, it grants. It grants the wishes. Okay? And that's your subconscious mind. And so when you say something like, I'm bad with names, well, guess what? That little child is listening in your ears, and it's like, okay, it does not know right or wrong. It just listens to what you say, and it just goes ahead and does it. Oh, wait a minute, Desmond. So can I just say to my child, I'm a millionaire, I'm a billionaire? Now, the child will grant you wishes that are believable and within reachable gaps. So if you want to get to billionaire, what you don't want to do, if you're just making $50,000 a year right now, and you say, child, make me a billionaire, right? The child will not make you a billionaire because it's too unbelievable to reach that goal. And so then what happens is, the child goes, I can't do it, and the child loses the subconscious mind loses confidence and just says, oh, well, I've been given projects that I can't do, and you keep asking these kind of ridiculous things, it just gives up. So what you got to do is also you got to slowly nurture your child, just like a parent gives your child confidence. And I've got 2 young children. Give them confidence. Give them things that they can do that allow them to get small successes, and then it builds up their confidence. It builds up their magic powers. Make sense? Yes?
It makes sense.
Okay. So that's what I did. Your identity is very important here. Okay. People identify themselves, and we're saying this all the time subconsciously. We say things all the time. I'm bad with names. I'm bad with numbers. Oh, I don't like this. I don't like work. Well, that also applies to you and people and relationships. So one of the first things I'm going to challenge you to do is to change your languaging. Start saying, I'm actually good with people. I actually like people. I actually feel I can give value to people. And in doing so, people open doors for me. So I coach people all the time, especially on this small thing. I'll hear their languaging, what they're saying. And they'll say, I'm bad with numbers, Desmond. I'll say, how about this? Change it. Just a small change in your languaging will have miraculous results. Say, Desmond, I used to be bad with numbers, but amazingly, I'm getting better. Desmond, I used to be bad with numbers, but strangely, I've been working on it, and I'm actually getting really good at numbers. I'm finding math is really easy for me. I'm actually getting faster at my calculations. It's a very different declaration you're making. And just by changing that declaration, that's a secret power. Now, some people call it affirmations, whatever you want to call it, but work on it. Catch yourself. Have an accountability partner. Trust someone. Say, I want to stop myself from saying, and if you catch me, maybe I got to put some money or whatever in a jar, or I got to buy dinner or whatever it is, and gamify it. Have fun. You've got kids, gamify it. So one of the things you want to do, step 1, I'm going to give you an actual action item here. If you really want this change and you really would love to see the benefits of leveraging relationships and have mentors and have connections to multimillionaires and billionaires and powerful people and people who can help you in life and open doors for you, it starts with you first. How do you identify yourself? Do you see yourself as a likable person who connects with people? Start that affirmation. I connect with people. I'm a connector. I'm interested in people. I'm genuinely interested in people. I remember people's names. I smile. I have a likable personality. I give first before taking. I add value first before taking. That's the magic sauce. I'm telling you, just do it. Start with that and watch and observe over 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. You will see massive value. Adam, back to you.
That is awesome. Thank you so much. And I always love to recap the answers that you give because you drop a lot of golden nuggets. I want to make sure everybody understands properly. So basically what you gave as a tip, like a quick, easy tip on how to build powerful relationships is, first of all, change your language if you think you're not good with people. Just say it differently, because what you say becomes your world, what becomes your reality. So start saying things like, I like people, or I have been bad with people, I'm working on it. And then step by step, you start improving. And then you can gamify it. You can see, okay, like maybe I talk to this person, maybe I do this. And to transfer what you just said also to the relationships itself is basically you get somebody who holds you accountable to build that relationship, to have this affirmation or whatever declaration you say. And then you step by step work towards it. So you don't want to start from, I'm an introvert, I have no friends, to I'm the most liked person in the world, but rather, okay, let's first change the first mindset, then get the first friend, then the second one, upgrade from there. Did I get this right?
Absolutely correct. Everyone's who's listening to this is gonna come in at different levels. Some of you are a little bit more introverted, and so for you, all it takes is maybe just your identity shift, and then maybe in the next 1 month, it's just connect with one other person. Be genuinely interested in them. What I find sometimes with introverts is you're worried. You're worried about how you're going to be judged. Maybe you may have told yourself the story. I like to be quiet, and there's nothing wrong with that. Believe it or not, 50% of the planet are introverts, 50% are extroverts. That's how the planet operates. We're not trying to change the introverts to be extroverts. We're not trying to change the extroverts to be introverts. We actually co-mingle, and it's a symbiotic relationship. We need each other. But what you can do is learn the language of the extroverts a little bit. Ask questions. The best, actually, I think the best people to do very well at making relationships are actually introverts. Believe it or not. Guess why? Because the extroverts, I have to tell them to shut up, stop talking. I'm an extrovert, and my mentor used to tell me, Desmond, stop talking, shut up, listen. So introverts, the good news for you is this. You can actually be an amazing connector, an amazing relationship builder, because you're an introvert. Because you're an introvert, you ask 1 or 2 questions and then just be quiet. Nod your head, listen. Introverts are amazing listeners, which makes the extroverts or the other people talk and makes them feel that you're genuinely interested in them. Now for the extroverts, you love the connections. It's a slightly different game here. You gotta tone down. I know you're interested in people. You want to talk. You want to get everything that's on your mind out there. But it's not about you. It's about the other person. And that's where I see, most people think the extroverts will do good. Unfortunately, the extroverts are going to hurt. You may have the confidence and you may have the initial gusto to want to connect with people, but then excuse the languaging, but you mess it up. Okay? Because you talk too much. And you're not listening with intent of what they're saying and trying to connect the dots and trying to think, how can I add value to this person? Because you just want to get out what's in your mind. So extroverts, I'm going to be tough on you because I'm an extrovert. I'm a very, all of the discs and culture index and everything. I'm a high extrovert. I'm not even just a normal extrovert. I'm an extreme extrovert. So relationships are big for me. I love connecting with people, but I need to tone it down sometimes and let people speak so that they can feel that I care about them. That's another nugget of gold there.
That is definitely a big golden one. Especially that is extremely empowering. People that thought they would be bad at it are actually good at it. And I realized that I'm an extrovert myself, born extrovert, and I realized it was hard building relationships. That was too much for people. Toning it down was hard. And I'm happy that you taught me a lot about that as well, because you know the problem, right? And so therefore, what you're saying is be an intentional listener, and instead of trying to wait when you can blurt out the next thing you can say, rather listen with the intent to see how can I provide value to that person.
Correct. I'll give another tip even for the introverts or the extroverts. So when you're asking a question, ask follow-up questions. So sometimes the introverts are going like, oh shit, I need a script, I'm panicking. You're like, oh, where did you grow up? And then the person's talking and they're like, oh shit, what do I do next? Ask follow-up question. So here's a simple rule of three. For some strange reason, a lot of people love to use threes. It's one of my lucky numbers, one of my favorite numbers, and I hope it's yours too as well. But you'll notice if you ever see, 3 simple steps or something. I think human brains we're wired that way to follow 3 things. So just create a simple rule. If you're a more regimented, organized, specific person, you want a little bit more of a methodology. Ask 3 follow-up questions. So, for example, Adam, where did you grow up? Tell me a bit about your background. And so Adam goes on and tells me about, oh, that's interesting, Adam. Now, what happened after you guys moved to Austria? And he tells me about that. Wow. And now that you've been living in Austria, Adam, how do you like it? What are your plans next? So I asked 3 questions. And guess what? I let Adam talk. He could have taken 15 minutes to tell me all of that. And all I had to do was just ask 3 questions. Well, guess what? Now Adam likes me. He thinks I'm interested. Now, you should be genuine. Don't be a charlatan and don't be falling asleep while they're talking to you. Listen with intent. And you show them that you're interested by nodding and saying, interesting. Every now and again, pepper that in. Oh, why is that? Oh, I see. Wow. Okay. Try to match them. If they're very, gregarious, or they're very animated or very charismatic, show them you're listening. Lean in a bit. Eye contact. Those things will make people feel that you're interested. And ask people what's important. What's important to you? Why is that important? Okay. How can I help you? Is there anything I can do to support you? Right? Now, don't do it shallow, because sometimes people do that with no intent of actually helping. When I actually offer my help, I mean it. And I make a note of it. Be very careful, because that's part of your integrity. If you offer something, make sure you follow through. Or you manage the expectation and you say, you know what, I just want to offer help. I want to offer support. There's no promises I can actually deliver, but at least I'm going to try my best. Is that okay with you? And that's how you tie off the communication. That's how you tie off the conversation. You start off with the rapport building, you get to know them, and then you wrap it up by kind of asking, well, Adam, you're growing really well right now, and you're putting on your event. Is there something I can do to support your event? Now, Adam, just want to manage expectations. I'm saying that because I really care about you, and I as I'm getting to know you, I think I might have some connections, but I don't want to get your hopes up too high. I will do my best to connect with those people. Is that okay with you? Right now, if I'm not able to deliver, just know that in my mind, I'm always thinking about you, and I'm trying to think of a way to support you. Is that okay with you?
That's awesome.
And then Adam's gonna say, yeah, thank you. Okay, back to you, Adam.
Thank you. That is extremely valuable, because with this tip, you can already set the expectations, because there are a lot of people out there that think you can create a relationship by just promising a lot, overtaking it, and then not being able to deliver. So you protected them with that against that.
Very, very dangerous. Do not over, and this is actually going to the extroverts. Do not over promise and under deliver. For this to work, the core thing here, number 1 was your identity. Number 2 is your integrity. So identity and then integrity. Your integrity is absolutely critical here, because your social capital, your word is your bond. So in this world of relationships, everything is about integrity and trust. If you are talking with someone about something confidential, you have to respect that. So again, that goes back to identity. Do you identify yourself as someone who is integrous? Or are you a manipulative, lying, cheater person that's trying to swindle people? I certainly hope not. Right? Yeah. I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt and assume that you're listening to this because you're an integrous person. And that's what STEM. Good relationships come from good integrity people. Adam, I want to give one important key point here, and that is, we've all heard the term, your network is your net worth. It's a very famous phrase. I've interviewed billionaires and millionaires, been mentored by multimillionaires and fractional billionaires and billionaires. And in the process, the one common trait of all of them is they all say something paraphrased, but very similar principle. Your network is your net worth. So the bigger your network, and not just mass people, but higher level people that pull you up, that is going to be what your net worth is. So when I heard that from my mentors, I made it a life mission to increase my network, to increase my net worth, so that money in the hands of good people can do good things. Integrous people can do good things. I increase my net worth. I help out the wealthy people of the world who have great missions. Maybe I am not that visionary, but this is a visionary that wants to do great things. If I can empower that visionary, connect people to that visionary, I am indirectly impacting the people that visionary or that disruptor or that leader is going to impact the world. And that's one of my life missions. That's my identity. I'm a connector and I want to do that. If that is you and you resonate with that, this is a clear, surefire blueprint of how to do it.
Awesome. And this case then, like you didn't start out with building relationships with millionaires and billionaires. It took you some time to do that. Now the question is this. Everybody says you have to deliver value. You also said it today, right? You have to deliver value first. But how do you deliver value to a person who has everything? Like, let's say you have this super powerful CEO, millionaire, world leader, and you are like an everyday Joe and don't know what to give this kind of person. Like, how do you do that?
That's a great question, Adam, because if everyone knew, it would be so easy. So this is the lock on the safe that you need to crack. And it takes thinking time. It does require thinking time, but most people, unfortunately, are lazy. They don't want. Everybody wants the 5-minute abs. If I told you the formula and the secret of the guy who's buff and who has a six-pack, well, his formula is this: I wake up at 4 a.m. every day. I drink a gallon of water. I eat 8 pounds of chicken or whatever, or 4 pounds. I don't know, grams of chicken or pounds of chicken breast, and I go to the gym every day. But everybody wants the 5-minute abs. So to get to the high level individuals, sometimes I've taken years to develop relationships. It's like I'm trying to storm a castle. It is not just a let me go up to the door and knock on the door, ping pong, let me in, or get to any kind of gatekeeper. I mean, that's oversimplifying it. Sometimes it takes years and years and years and years. It's like a very complex spider web of connections. And it may take me a whole year to get to know this person, who then gets me a connection to this person. Now I built up the social relationship and I have the integrity and the trust that these people know me with my reputation. And then because of that, these two individuals, I start to connect with this one and this person. I've connected to 5 people, and the person I'm truly actually trying to get to is actually right in the middle. And then all these 5 people are talking about me, and they're saying, "Oh, Desmond's your guy. You should." And this person in the middle goes, "Who's this Desmond guy I keep hearing everyone talk about?" Well, that's like a 5-year plan. That's a 3-year plan. But are you willing to do that? But that's at the advanced level that I play at. Not everyone needs to do that. Circling back, let me just go back to something that's more practical. If you've ever worked in the service industry, I worked in hospitality. So if you're an engineer type and you're focused on computers and systems and kind of cubicles, it might be a little bit harder. You need to kind of get out of your environment, change your environment if you really are truly interested in this topic. You got to get into the social settings. I grew up in a church setting when I was younger. My parents were quite charismatic at church and very active in the Catholic Church. So, and we were already around social settings. We'd go out for dinners as groups and stuff. I'd watch my parents, and we had this kind of a prayer group. That was one thing that we had when I was younger. And we moved to Canada and we didn't really have that. A little bit different culture over here in terms of the Catholic churches and so forth. And, then I started growing up and I learned about non-denominational Christian and all kinds of North American stuff and other beliefs and New Age and law of attraction and everything else, metaphysics and quantum physics, and I started learning other things. But the common principle was this, and that was just, when I was out there, I worked in hospitality. So I started with like restaurants and, being a waiter or busboy, working as a cook. You're just behind the stove and you're hot all day, but you're talking to all the waitress and waiters and everyone else. And then eventually I got into the hotel industry. And when in the hotel industry, I started off as a bellman. Well, guess what? I realized very quickly that if I remembered names, which was, I was reading the book at the time, How to Influence and Influence People, I got better tips. "Oh, Mr. Johnson, welcome back. It's good to see you again. Will you be back here next month?" "Yeah, I've come back in town again. I got a business trip." "Oh, really? Well done. Good. Well done, sir. Have a great trip." He goes away. I get my little black book. "Mr. Johnson, back next month." Mr. Johnson comes back. I'm like, now fast forward another month. "Hey, Mr. Johnson, welcome back. How was your business trip? Did things go well from last month?" "Hey, Desmond, good memory. Well done." He slaps me a 10. Wow. If I remember things about people, it translates into money. Now, this is oversimplifying it, but that's when I started developing the relationships, and I became a concierge in training at that time. I never got my Leclerc keys, but in those days, I went into business eventually. I got into entrepreneurship, but back then, I was working in the hotels, and I realized that if I knew powerful people in the city, if I knew, Judge Siegel, I knew Brian Jessel, I knew, Jimmy Patterson, if you know Vancouver, the big names of the city. And I would be at events where they were putting on galas and charity balls. And I knew Brian Jessel would be pulling up in his Ferraris and his BMWs. And he'd be like, "Hey, Desmond," and he'd throw me, couple $100. He'd be like, yeah, it is for you and the boys, right? All the valets. We take care of his cars, put them in front. I got to know him because, I got to find out information about him. And then eventually when he came out, I'd be like, hey, Mr. Jessel, you bought your cars up here. You want me to take care of the cars like how we do all the time? Yep, Desmond, put the cars in front, take out my A-frame and put it in front and show off, he had the Ferrari Vancouver and he had BMW. And so he'd pull up the cars and we would do that, right? For him. I knew what he liked. I took notes on people. I still do it till today. I do it on my iPhone. I will go to restaurants, and if you check my notes on my iPhone, I know the names of waiters and waitresses at different places. Now, I don't always, now these days, I don't depend on memory alone. I depend on like tools like iPhones and apps and things like that. But before I go to that restaurant, I know at the beach house, there's a guy named Dave. I know there's a lady there named Carolyn. These are waiters and waitresses that have taken care of me. And I will show up there. I know there's a lady named Jamie. And I'll see them like, hey, Jamie, how's things going? Oh, yeah, welcome back, Desmond. That relationship is powerful. Hey, Jamie, you see you sitting over there at the table. This is very high end in a very rich neighborhood. There's a guy sitting over there. Who's that sitting over there? Is that, oh, that is so and so. He owns all this. Interesting. Okay. What does he do? Does he come here quite often? Right. These are advanced strategies, but you got to get to know your people. Get to know them. I used to go to restaurants when I was dating in the early days, and I would say, for example, there's a girl I wanted to take out to a fancy restaurant, fancy steakhouse. Well, guess what? I'm going to take her there on Friday, right? Well, but I haven't booked the reservation yet. I'll go the Friday before, or even the Wednesday before on a slower day. I'll go on a Wednesday before, 1 week before on the Wednesday or the Tuesday. I go there and I get to know the waiter. I get to know all the waiters. Who's working next week Friday, right? Now, first of all, I'm there. I'm getting to know the waiter. I become friends with the waiter. Great, yeah. And I'm just eating by myself. Oh yeah, really? What do you recommend? Oh, this stuff. Hey, I'm planning to come back here next week. I'm planning on bringing a beautiful girl with me. Can you help me with the reservation? And can you just make me look like a superstar? And I slap him a good, like I invest. Like I'll give him $100 tip. The meal's $100. I give him $100 tip. Who cares, right? $200, a good investment. And then guess what? A week later, I show up there, and the waiter, John, Mr. Soon, welcome back again. We have your regular table over here. My girlfriend's, she's pretty impressed. I come down, I sit down. Mr. Soon, we recommend the ribeye steak here. And for the lovely lady here, we have this beautiful chowder as well as also the salmon, blah, 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 blah. And she's impressed. John, very much. You always look after me. Very well, thank you. Oh, and Desmond, Mr. Soon, we recommend the Chardonnay, blah, blah, blah. The power of relationships for anyone who's dating, okay? Now, I'm married and but my wife laughs because I do that all the time still. And my wife goes, you don't need to do that for me anymore. But I just enjoy the game. And gamify it. Have fun with it for the extroverts. So hopefully I just gave you something fun to do as well. Adam, back to you.
That is awesome. Thank you. Because basically what you just said is, if you want to go to the high-level people, start with the people close to them first. Go to the left, connect to the people that you can connect to in your level, and search out for those who are close to the people you want to be with. Then
you got to build a network. You got to build a network. You got to give value. Gatekeepers, you need to make them look like heroes. Make gatekeepers to whoever it is look hero. If you're trying to get into a company on a B2B level and you're trying to get to the CEO or the CFO, you need to find out who are the department heads or who are the executive assistants, and you need to reach out to them, and you need to just respect them, respect their role, and respect that they have power, and let them know, I acknowledge that you are the executive assistant. You probably get this from a lot of people, right? The service and offer that we have and that we provide will not only help your boss's company, but also make you look like a hero for suggesting it. But before we do, I'm not asking you to share it with your boss. I'm going to share it with you first. And if you feel comfortable sharing with your boss and you can see how this is going to help you get a promotion and help make you look like a superstar, would you give me that 10 minutes? Would you give me that half an hour to show you what we have? Would you even entertain that? And let me, if in the old days we'd say, hey, meet up for dinner or something. Or you have to invest that time. Invest in people. I go on social media, I find out who the executive assistant is. I find out everything about them. I go look at their social, I spy on them, stalk on them. Oh, this person likes dogs. Hey, I saw on your social media you have a corgi, or you have a German Shepherd. Oh, how many years have a German Shepherd? I'm interested in them. And then eventually, okay, so what are your goals? What are you trying to do at the company? How long have you been with there? Is there something I can do to support you first? So I just focus on that person first. I close that person first. I build the relationship with that person first. And then I just be transparent. Eventually I said, I would like to really speak with your boss, but I wanted you to get to know me first. And you can see that I'm true. This is what we do, and if you feel you can trust me, would you be comfortable making that open introduction for me?
That is
Give
awesome.
value.
So basically, trying to, like, as you said before, bust in the door. And that's a huge mistake many people do, right? Like, they just go in and they're like, gatekeeper, let me through, let the big guys talk. And the gatekeeper's like, you're never getting in here again. Right? So
Correct. Another thing is to find out where the people you want to connect to spend time. That's why people pay to be at golf clubs, very expensive golf membership clubs or very high-end restaurants. But you cannot go in there with a cheap mindset. This is a long game, and it does take investment, because what is that worth? That relationship, what is it worth? So some people try to go, you sit next to a table, next to a person at a restaurant, some famous person, doesn't mean you're going to connect and become friends with them right off the bat. Okay, you need to create opportunities to connect with them. So I'll join masterminds, and the fastest one, the easiest way is to attend events. Now, obviously, with the pandemic time, there's a lot more virtual events, not live. I used to love attending live events. They can be quite exhausting, but you're attending live events. I didn't just attend events, and I got this from my mentor, and him and I collaborated a lot on this one. But it's 3 reasons we attend events. Okay, and the first reason is to connect, is to really connect. And I'll explain a bit more about that. I'll come back in a second. Let me just quickly knock off these 2. The second is actually to go there and actually learn. What is the topic about? Who are the speakers? What are they talking about? And then the third thing is to actually watch and study how the event organizers organize their events. There's a great video about this by Dan Locke. He's one of my mentors. And just go search on his YouTube channel, and he talks about attending events and how to leverage attending events. And we go there to study what the event organizers are doing, how the speakers are speaking, what's their offer, what's their pitch, how's the audience reacting to what they're saying, and that's part of being an influencer ourselves, is to learn that so that we can incorporate that. But let's go back to the connect. This is something that I do at major events, and Dan and I have had a very long relationship for many years, and so we would travel together many times. I'd be his right-hand man, and because he's a little bit more of an ambivert, a little bit of an introvert ambivert, he would normally say, Desmond, you shine in this kind of environment. It actually exhausts me a bit to go out and socialize with people, but you kind of derive your energy. So can you connect? So one of the things I would do is, before attending an event, is let's just say I'm going to use ClickFunnels, for example. We attend the ClickFunnels event. I would look at the roster. I would look at who are the speakers, get to know them first. I would actually invest time. I invest about half an hour per speaker to get to know them and look at their social media. I would actually engage in their social media. I would actually connect with them, be friends with them on Instagram or Facebook if they accept me. I would comment. I'll be saying yes. See, this is the kind of stuff that most people don't want to do. They're lazy, right? They just want the instant gratification without putting in the value. I'm going to comment, hey, I shared your post. That's already a value add. Hey, I really liked your post. It inspired me. I shared it. And so, I do all that first with expecting nothing, no rewards yet. Just do that. And so I know where all the speakers are. Now, when I attend the event, obviously I look professional. I'm not showing up there in a t-shirt and a backpack. I've attended a lot of these internet marketing events, and I'm flabbergasted how people come in looking like they just woke up from bed and they're like in their pajamas almost, or they look like they're going to the beach. And I'm like, you're at a business event. You're here to learn. I get it, the whole internet laptop lifestyle. But I've always dressed professionally to give myself an upper edge. Because remember, I'm Asian. I look small. I look young. I look like a kid. So even though I'm like 44 now, but people used to think I'm like 19. So to take me more seriously, I dressed up more professionally. And I didn't buy cheap stuff. I always had nice, good looking stuff. So I show up at an event. I look professional. And then when I'm in there, I didn't just go sit in the back of the room and hide. I purposely sat, and this takes time. You got to wake up early in the morning. You got to be there when the doors are opening, and everyone's doing a mad rush to get in. The VIPs, all their fancy lanyards, they would sit in the front there. So I would get as close to the VIP section. And there's a whole other thing where I would try to get into the actual VIP section myself and try to sit there if I could. Not try to gate crash it, but legally get into the VIP section and get upgraded to it if I could. But I would be an associate around the VIPs. And at many events, never ever talk to a speaker when they're about to speak, when they're going into the green room, because they're mentally in that zone. Do not disturb them. And in fact, even after they finish speaking, you normally want to just give them some space to decompress. But I would watch who's going to the washroom. And during the time when they go to the washroom, I conveniently get up and go to the washroom as well. And I coincidentally bump into them in the hallway. Now, don't do this in the washroom, please. We've had that happen. I've had people, I'm at the urinal and someone comes and stands next to me and like, hey, Desmond, and they now do it. And I'm like, no, don't. Give them space. Don't do it before you wash hands as well, too. Do it after you come out of the washroom, okay? And don't do it before they go into the washroom. They're trying to go to the washroom. Don't waylay them. Let them go do the thing. Don't sit outside the washroom and stalk them. And then the moment they come into the washroom, hey, Mr. Influencer, do not do that. You got to make it look casual. And it's like, oh, hey, John. Hey, I'm one of your followers on Instagram. Man, great speech you gave there. I shared your post the other day, on Instagram. I really good stuff. Are you doing it yourself, or do you have a team doing it for you? And they start to spark up a conversation with me. Interested, right? Can I walk and talk with you? Let's walk back to the conference. Walking back to the conference, trying to get to know them a bit. Also, so what is it you do? What are you doing here? And I would get to know them just a little bit, just a short conversation. I would pique their interest about what I'm doing as well too. But I'm trying to ask that, like, what is it you're trying to offer? Oh, are you launching a new thing? Is there something I can do to support your business? Is there something I can do? And they say yes. Well, I said, hey, I'm actually here just to, I'm here because I want to catch the speaker that's in the room right now. Why don't we connect a little bit later? Maybe how many days are you staying here? Are you leaving on the day after the event, or are you staying one more extra day? Can we connect for a lunch? Let me buy you lunch. I'll buy you lunch. Let's connect. And what I do is I take out my phone right off the bat. I'll be like, hey, what's your number? And I said, I'm just going to send you an SMS right now so you have my number, right? That's how we can connect. This is my personal number, so you directly connect me. And I'll just stand there and I'll be like, yep. Now, very rarely, done correctly, no one ever says no to giving you that number. So now all of a sudden I've got a powerful person's phone number directly in my phone. And I type it in and I'll be like, okay, so it is +1 778. Okay, good. I just sent you a message. Can you just quickly send me back a message? Or just say okay or something? Then you got it? Yeah, check your phone right now. Okay, great. Hey, John, man, thanks so much for talking, man. I really love the work you're doing. I'm pretty sure I can probably make some introductions for you. You remember that thing you told me about your podcast? Let me see what I can do to make some introductions for you. Would that be helpful for you? Yes? Okay, cool. Let's meet, after this, or even just text back and forth. If I can shoot you anything or make some connections for you, happy to do that. Hey, man, thanks for taking the time to chat. By the way, do you mind if I take a quick photo with you? Awesome.
Love it.
Now, I did a lot of things there, and I've been doing this for many years. If anyone who's watching this right now can even just do a fraction of that and just start doing it. Now, I firmly believe that we may go back to live events and things like that in the near future. But for now, how do you do that in the virtual world? In the virtual worlds, if you're on Zooms and you're in chats, pay attention to what the event's going on. But I will private message with different people. And it is a little bit different because the whole digital world removes you from connecting with people. You have to follow, all the more you need to connect with them more on the platform that they're on. Right. So if you have them in a Zoom and you're allowed to do PMs, and the moderators haven't turned off the PMs, reach out to them. Reach out and say hi. Hey, and do the same sort of introduction. Let them know. I just want to add some value to you. Is there something? Normally, most people have a challenge to say, what value do I add? Just ask. I'd love to support you and add some value. Is there anything you're working on right now? Is there a project that you're focused on right now? And don't make it sound like you can do something. Just say, like, I'll give it some thought. Let me see what I can do. I'll check my network. If I don't know, I can ask my mentor. If not, let me ask some people I know to see if I can help you. Would that be helpful for you? Who's going to say no? Everyone says yes. But my goal is to, first of all, lead by showing that it's kind of like my palms are open. I'm happy to help out, right? I'm here. Here's who I am. And just let me know what you need. But now that if I get the help, how do I connect with you? Some people, if they're very guarded and protected, they'll be like, well, talk to my assistant. Connect with my assistant. Well, okay, what's your assistant's number? Right, great. Now, guess what? The system has no context, right, as to who you are, right? And so, you have to ask this influencer or this big person to say, so if I connect with them, would it be okay? What's her number? Okay, so I'm texting her, Marie, right? Marie, okay, Marie, I'm here with John at the ClickFunnels. He asked me to connect with you. Or I'll just even immediately press the microphone button. Hey, Marie, it's Desmond here. My name is Desmond Soon. You don't know who I am. I'm actually standing here with John. I just met him at the ClickFunnels event. And, I wanted to offer some value and help him out. There might be some things I can help out with his podcast or his social media marketing. And he asked me to connect with you because he's really busy. Yeah, John, and I'll just do this like, yeah, Marie, talk to Desmond and blah, blah. So now she hears her boss telling her to connect with me. If you can get that, that's a more advanced level, right? Again, it's all about making those initial connections with people. And eventually over the years, I build up knowledge. If you're in the internet marketing space or you're in the coaching space, get to know who are the big names. I'd be surprised how many people I've met who want to be an entrepreneur. They want to be in the online space. They're just getting started, but they don't know anybody.
Huh.
Even in the online space, they're not taking the time to go online and search and Google and look at YouTube and see who's the big influencers and who are the big names. I didn't learn this overnight. It took years and years of collecting this database of people in my head. I'm friends with Brandon Kane. I'm friends with, Peter Voog. I'm friends with Ryan Moran. These all their books. I'm friends with almost all the title owners. With Gino Wickman, with Mike Mikalowicz. I'm friends with. I've gotten to know Jocko Willings. I'm you name it. I've met them, right? Chris. I've reached out to Chris Voss. So, which then leads to how you make other connections. I'll give you another strategy, but I'll let Adam dive into some of the other questions he's got because I know what's coming out in the pipeline.
It's great. It is exactly the point. And guys, if you want to learn from Desmond the exact strategy, how you do what he just shared with you, I highly recommend you get the All Access Pass because that's what he shares in the VIP interview. Because we don't have so much time to cover the ultra deep stuff, right, in a quick short hour. But for the second one, we have a little bit more time for that. So if you don't have it yet, get it down below. And in case, Desmond, that people are really, really interested and want to work more with you, on your YouTube channel, they can connect with you. On your Instagram, they can connect with you. How else can they reach out to you? Like, should they just write you an email? Should they connect with you on LinkedIn, Facebook? How do you prefer to connect with people?
My Instagram is building up again. For years, I spent all my time building up my influencers and my mentors' channels. And I actually, being transparent, I did not put as much attention on my own stuff. Recently, I've been reigniting it and I've been building it up. I can't be a hypocrite. I've been helping other entrepreneurs and millionaires and everyone else to build up their social media. So I'm just reigniting my branding right now. So you will see content coming out more regularly. I appreciate if anyone could subscribe to my YouTube channel. That's the first place because you'll get to know me and you'll get to, even if you don't connect with me, you get to watch videos and interviews of what I do with people. The second would be Instagram. If you follow me on Instagram, that'll be really appreciated. If you share my posts, just like what I'm saying, if you want to get my attention, are you sharing my posts? Are you helping me out? Are you commenting on my posts as well, too? That would be a great way for you to give me value. Now, the next thing that you can do, if you want to reach out to me, I do respond on LinkedIn, but I have a very strict, busy schedule. So I'm not always checking every single LinkedIn message. And I do have an executive assistant that's also checking for me. So many times, if you are going to reach out to me, I get spammed a lot, and we have to get rid of 90% of the junk that's coming in of people just copying and pasting and spamming me. Versus if you sent me a DM, maybe on Instagram, and if I respond to you there, or if you sent it on LinkedIn because it's a business related, maybe business coaching related, scaling your business related, investment related, digital marketing related, you want to get it, reach out to me on LinkedIn. That's a business related area. Reach out to me there and say, Desmond, I watched the interview with you and Adam. So, help my memory to remember where you found me or how you heard about me, and say, when you spoke about introducing, I'm reaching out to you on LinkedIn right now, and here's some value I want to add first. What I've done was actually went and took a look at some of your stuff. I shared your video on my social media post. I actually took your video and put it into a blog, and I drove some traffic for you. This is the type of things that I would do for other influencers to get their attention first.
Mm-hmm. So basically, if you want to connect with Desmond, do exactly what he just shared on the interview and how to connect to people. And he's going to judge you by that as well. Like if you reach out to him and said, I heard you in the Personal Power Summit, and you're doing nothing of what he taught, do you think he will respond? Probably not. So do what you learned. Awesome. In that case, last question for this interview for you, Desmond, before we jump into the VIP area. I asked this to all the speakers because I want to hear the different takes on this specific question. What is your personal favorite way to unlock personal power?
My personal favorite way to unlock personal power. I'm like some of my mentors. In fact, Dan also talks about this. Dan Locke talks about this. Sometimes we feel that motivation is a little bit too overrated. I love Tony Robbins. I've attended Tony Robbins events. I've walked on fire on coals, and those things are phenomenal. But on the other hand, I've also I've noticed this pattern. It doesn't always have to be this case, but almost every single entrepreneur that I know that is doing very well, 7 figures or above, and they have a successful business, all of them have, rather than just motivation, they have drive. That drive, that deep down fire, doesn't come from motivation, which is sometimes I consider very flighty and comes and goes like the wind. Versus drive is like a fire that's burning nonstop all the time. And unfortunately, or fortunately, in the people that I've interviewed over the years, the books I've read, the common pattern I found is that there was some negative moment or event that happened in most of these people's lives when they said enough's enough. See, I know we all know psychology, and we know that statistics show that humans are actually more motivated by negative than actually positive. It's a sad truth. We'd love to think of the flashy cars and the vacations and the private jets and everything, but I guarantee you, if you have a lion chasing you and is about to eat you, that's going to be your biggest motivator right there, right? If you can't pay the rent, if you are about to be evicted, if you're going through a divorce right now, if someone is stealing your money, if you've got a gun to your head, if someone's got a gun to the head of your child or loved one, you are going to be more motivated to do something. It's not whether you give a, excuse the language here, I'm going to just swear, it doesn't matter whether you give a fuck about motivation or not. I don't care if you have the fucking flu, you're going to wake up. You're going to wake up at 4 o'clock in the fucking morning to get it done. So I actually am a little bit of a tough, I was kind of, brought up in the school of hard knocks. I made big fucking dumb mistakes in my life, and I put my family at risk. And as a man and as a father, as a husband, I realized that when that day came, and I realized how it was, I wanted to vomit. And I didn't want to just vomit for one hour. I wanted to vomit for years. The feeling of vomit, of what a loser I was, and how pathetic I was, and the mistakes and the risk that I put my family in. That was the wake-up call. It was from that time. Dr. Eric Thomas, phenomenal. He's got a great speech, and he goes, you guys could go check it out as well too. When you want it as bad as you want to breathe, he has that phrase. He talks about the story of this great master, and then this student that wants to learn from him, and they're by the ocean. And he tells the student to go step into the water. He goes and steps in the water, and all the master does is he grabs the guy's head and shoves it under the water. And the guy's like struggling there for like 2 minutes, and he comes up, and because the guy had asked the master, like, master, show me the secret of life, how to be successful, right? And the master literally said, you remember that feeling when you're underwater? What was that? He goes, what were you thinking about? All you want to think about was breathing? He goes, yeah, when you want it as bad as you want to breathe. It's as simple as that. So my personal power is finding, now you don't always have to live in a negative fear all the time, but you need to anchor with something in your life. Something has to give you that drive that makes you wake up at 4 or 5 a.m. in the morning, that makes you do it even when you don't feel like doing it, because you want it as bad as you want to breathe. It eliminates all excuses. You don't need caffeine, you don't need motivation, you just need that, and you will go and find. You'll be hungry enough to go find the mentor. You'll find the resources. Dan Locke says this to me all the time. Desmond, he goes, it's never a lack of resources, it's a lack of resourcefulness. Well, where does the lack of resourcefulness come from? The lack of hunger, the lack of drive to get that. If you have that drive, I can't tell you what your drive is. My drive is very different than yours. You have to find that drive. What is driving you to wake up? What is driving you to find solutions? What is driving you to come up with the money? What is driving you to submit your damn pride and find a mentor like Adam or coaches to connect with them? And for once in your life, put your damn ego out of the way and learn from someone else who can hold you accountable. That's where I get my personal power from. It's my drive. And quite frankly, one of my drives is my family. Because I'm a family man, my family is my drive. And that second, well, truly, actually, I don't want to get spiritual here, but my first drive, obviously, I'm not going to get all godlike here, but I do believe in a higher power. Call it universe, call it God. So my drive, I'm always speaking, I'm having conversations with God, I'm having conversations with the universe, mastermind. I'm always asking, what is my purpose here on the planet? How can I give value on this planet before I die? What's the significance I'm going to leave on this planet? Right? It's not an ego thing. I literally, how can I impact the lives of people before I leave this planet? That's one of my drives. Second one is my family, which obviously I've been blessed with my family, so I'm looking after them. And then the third are the people around me, the people I impact. Am I only just going to impact 5, 10 people, or can I impact leaders who impact the lives of millions of people? So it's not about me anymore. It's not about me. People have so much trouble figuring out motivation and figuring out their drive because it's all about yourself. It's not, I took my eyes off myself. It's no longer about me. People are depending on me. I only talk to millennials. I talk to someone who's in their 20s and they've yet to have kids, or they don't have anyone that they're mentoring. So they can just wake up whenever they want to. They can just do whatever they want to. But when you have kids, or when you have a mentee of your own that you're coaching, you can't be a hypocrite. If you're telling someone to get into shape, you got to be in shape. So the way I protect my own laziness is I surround myself with people I have to mentor and people I have to give value to. So it's no longer about me. I have to show up good. Hopefully that answers your question, Adam.
That answers it absolutely perfectly. Thank you. So basically what you say is get people that you give value to, because then you cannot give up. Because if it's bigger than yourself, the drive will come with it. And have a drive, not motivation, because you want to have this burning fire inside yourself that is as bad as you want to breathe. And then make it about something else than yourself. And it's way easier to keep this fire going, correct?
Correct.
Awesome. Welcome back. We are backstage with my friend Desmond soon. And I hope you guys are excited because he's going to share his amazing master strategy to build a high network profile network with people. Because you see, if you are like in business, it's easy to form relationships and get some business people on your side. But what if you are not in business yet? What if you just want to have a high level network of people that are great friends to have, like people that are higher up, that can connect you, that can show you a different world, right? How do you build a relationship with them? And also, Desmond is going to share something that you definitely will need, because if you unlock your personal power, you raise up the ranks. And it happened to the best of us. It happened to me too. It happens in corporate. It happens in your private life. People will come for you. They will try to scheme against you. They will try to do some politics against you. And we're going to share a few amazing techniques on how to defend yourself against that. Desmond, welcome to the stage again. We are all ears.
Thank you very much, Adam. And I hope that each and every one of you enjoyed the other session. And of course, for the VIPs, you are now here. So, this is where I'm going to reveal, and we're going to go into depth. Adam's going to ask me some questions. He's already given me a brief of some of the questions he wants to ask. And I'm going to share with you and be transparent. Do I have your permission to do that? Can I be transparent with you? Now, I also want to manage some expectations. Not everything I'm going to show you or teach you are going to be things that you might be able to implement. I had a mentor once that said, hey, Desmond, when you go to the supermarket, do you buy everything? Do you go up or down every single aisle? Do you purchase every single thing? And the answer is very simple. No, you go in there and you only get what you need. And you only get what you need because, I'm going there for eggs and milk and butter, and I'm going to get that because that's what's going to sustain me to produce results. So I want to start off this whole session by just pre-framing and just say, I'm going to give you a lot of different suggestions, things that I've done over the years that have worked. And what you need to do best is to see how that works best for you. I also want to manage expectations. I'm not going to give you the 6-minute abs. I'm going to tell you what needs to happen. I'm going to show you what needs to happen. I'm going to share things that I've done, and it's already a proven process. Now, if you want to try it your way, are there better ways? Are there other ways of doing it? I'm sure there probably are, but I'm going to share with you what my ways and how they've worked and how it's made me, millions of dollars. It's helped me to bring in millions of dollars in revenue. It's helped me to connect with multimillionaires and fractional billionaires. It's helped me to make those introductions and be the right-hand man, to be the point man for my mentors, and that opened doors for them, which turned into multi-million-dollar deals as well too. So that was my intrinsic value in the organization, so to my mentors, because I had that skill, this ability to do that, and I would like to pass on my knowledge to you. And all I'm asking in exchange is, if you really appreciate this, reach out to Adam, ask him questions, pay it forward. Pay it forward. This is the integrity. Use this knowledge well. I had another mentor, and I think this is quite apropos or cliche to say, but I'm sure anyone who's ever watched the Marvel movies, you may have seen Spider-Man, in which there's a famous phrase that says, with great power comes great responsibility. So yes. I'm going to share with you these best practices with one ask, and that is, you take this knowledge, you use it for good. You use it to do good in the world. You use it to generate value, use it to do integrous things. And if you do that, you will be blessed with abundance. You will be blessed with, mentors and people coming to your back and supporting you. Relationships will be developed for years and years. And that's how even Adam and myself are extremely close. Anytime Adam ever picks up the phone or sends me a message, he's one of the few individuals, it doesn't matter what time of the day it is, I will respond to him. And that's because we have this relationship capital, this bond, and Adam opens doors for me, I open doors for him. That has translated into multiples, thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars in revenue because of those relationships. So Adam, with that, fire away, give me your first question.
Awesome, thank you. And yeah, I want to add to that. This is exactly the point. And even if you are not using this for business skills, what we are saying here is money is a byproduct of value. So if you are able to form these kinds of relationships, even if you're not in business, it's going to give you a friendship for life with people. You see, you are the people you hang around with. And what do I want to have as a friend? Some lazy bum who is not in integrity, who stands me up all the time, doesn't answer my phone calls, and is never there when I need him? Or do I want to have a high value friend who can get shit done and that we help each other grow and become better? And that's exactly what this is about. So Desmond, tell us one thing, go in depth with your strategy on how you get access to people. Let's imagine we have an attendee here that has no connections yet. They have just a normal environment, the normal friends and family, maybe from work, and they want to enter a high value network. They want to enter and meet people that they usually wouldn't meet. What do they need to do? What is a step-by-step thing that they need to keep in mind and need to do to get access to people that usually would be out of their league?
Okay, so I'm going to take that and reframe it a bit. If you watch the original session, you would hear I always talk about your identity first. So I'm assuming your identity is already shifted, that you understand that you see yourself as a connector, you see yourself as a networker. That it starts right there in the inside. I cannot give you some tactics. I can give you the most perfect script, but unless your internal belief is changed and shifted, that you see yourself, you start to wake up in the morning and you look in the mirror and you say, and as the self-talk, that little voice in the back of your head, I'm a connector, I'm a connector, I'm a connector, I'm a connector. I give value, I give value, I give value. It starts with that first. If you come from a giving mindset, then you will do well. If you're coming in with a take mindset and a selfish, greedy, what's it in for me? I guarantee you'll fail with this. So it has to start with you wanting to give first. It with the intention of giving first, adding value first. The second question I have for you is why do you want to have this network? I heard we know the cliche line again, your network is your net worth. Well, what does that really mean to you? It means very different things to me. It means different things to some of the billionaires I know. But maybe I'm just speaking to the mass audience here who might be watching this. What does it mean to you? Having that audience, Adam said, sometimes it doesn't always have to be money, it doesn't have to be business, but it's having that relationship support, that relational support that you need when you need it in times of need. It could be leveraging people, because we always hear about leverage money, right, in the marketplace, but no one ever talks about leveraging people. I have a group of friends that if, say, for example, something's broken in my house, and fortunately I grew up with a handyman dad, so I'm a pretty handyman myself, but if I'm really busy and I can't fix something, I can just pick up the phone. I have those favors I can call in. I know I have a friend who can do the landscaping for me. I know I have someone who's an electrician who can come in and fix things. I know I have someone who's a contractor who can come over and fix all the general contractor things. My kids the other day pulled off this marble shelf in the bathroom, in the shower stall, and it's actually kind of a glued adhesive to the wall, and they ripped it off. It almost broke, right? So it broke off the wall, but luckily the marble's fine. Well, I called a friend who's a general contractor. He said, yeah, sure, no worries. That's when on my way home from work, I'll pop over to your place. 5 minutes, I'll get it fixed. Comes in with the adhesive, boom, done. So think of your network in that way. They're very powerful. You should always be wanting to elevate yourself. I think a lot of us are very attached to our friends and the people in our lives. And this is what holds most people down, including, this is going to be the hardest one, is your family. Because your family, with good intentions, they want things for you. This is assuming you don't have an abusive family or a negative family, but even positive families can sometimes, hold you back because they think they know, and we feel obligated to them. So if you are growing up and you are, I'm going to address the people who are you're just coming out of teenagehood, you're young adults, all the way to basically mid 30s, and I'm going to speak to the mid 30s and above. So for you who are under the mid 30s, you have time. but build up your network. One of the things I did at a very young age, by the age of 18, 19, I was already networking. I was around millionaires. I was working in downtown Vancouver. I was running a valet parking company. So I got to meet very wealthy individuals. I got to meet, Mr. Siegel. I met Judge Siegel. I met uh, Jim Patterson. I knew very famous individuals in town, and that gave me clout. That gave me social capital. When I knew these people and they came in, I was still serving them as a person in the hospitality business, but I got to know them and I watched their lifestyle and I watched the people they would go in and have dinners with. This lawyer, that realtor, that real estate agent, this real estate tycoon, and it opened my mind to a different world. Okay. And as a young adult, I was always thinking, maybe it got me jobs at their companies. Maybe it got me, it allowed me to, because they recognized me. If I went to Brian Jessel, Mr. Jessel, and he had the BMW and the Ferrari company, if I wanted to work for him, well, he knew me personally. If I went up to him and said, Mr. Jessel, I'm looking to change my job. I knew the owner directly. I mean, that's powerful. Instead of handing in a resume. So I always, from a very young age, you got to understand my belief system. Your belief may be different. I'm going to attempt to try to shift your belief in this talk here. The power of having this belief that connections will get you places. Now, I also want to pre-frame things for the entrepreneurs that are slightly more mature. Just depending on referrals is not a sustainable and scalable way to grow your business. Referrals are absolutely powerful. They're icing on the cake. And you should always have a referral system, some sort of proper referral system, not a random referral system. You should work on that as one of the pillars of your business, but you should never build your business only on referrals. People like me, if you're more similar to me, that is one of the dangers, the traps that you get caught up in, that you feel it's kind of this false security that you can drum up business because of your big network connections. And that's not true. You need to have predictable revenue, just like this book here, Predictable Revenue. You need to have that in your life. You need to have those kind of systems in your place. So when you're getting older, okay, I'm going to speak to the ones over 35 plus now. And if you look at your bank account and you don't even have $1,000 in there, shame on you. I mean, that's really embarrassing if you're an individual that's in that spot. So I hope you understand the pinch, the crunch, that you're running out of time, that you probably want to make a shift in your life, but you're like, Desmond, where do I get started right now? I'm tired, I'm overworking, and I got 2 jobs. I'm just starting to getting started right now. How and where do I go? Who do I meet? Well, personally, I would start with the books. Do you see how many books I have here behind me? Books are mentors. Books are mentors, just in written format. Maybe you don't have time to get access to the individuals, but what kind of books are you reading, first of all? See, so again, why successful people are successful is because of successful habits. So I'm going to back up even more. I can tell, if I was to look at your habits, for most of you, I can tell why you're broke. I can tell why you don't have a big network. You never made an effort to care about people. You never made an effort to be interested in people. You may not read books, and some of you is going to ruffle your feathers. Well, who are you to fucking tell me, what I am to? Well, fine. See, that's another bad habit right there. You're closed off and you're opinionated. You don't have a mentor. You're not listening to anyone that is, you're not listening to anyone that might be helping you. All of this ties together. If you want to connect with people, I'll give you the methodology, but I need to make sure your mindset is correct. You need to be in the right place for me to give you. Because if I just give you the strategy, it's like if I gave you a recipe, a chef's recipe, but you don't have the mindset of a chef who's passionate about food and wants to get the best recipes, and you care about the delivery of the food to the people, and I just gave you a recipe, you would still botch up the recipe because the core is wrong. And that's why I'm investing the time to tell you all these things. But let's bring it back here. And I know Adam wants me to get right into the thing. So what are things you can do? I'll summarize it. Value. What value are you giving? Have you invested the time to know people? So Desmond, what do you mean by giving value? Okay, so let me give you an example. I conduct interviews. I have a YouTube channel. I conduct interviews. When I used to travel to, live events, right? I invested. I had money to attend live events. Well, if you've never even been out of your own city, you don't have a passport, you've never traveled to another city, you've never been to a conference, well, that right there is your problem. Your circle are the people you graduated with, you probably smoked drugs with, you probably did some weird stuff with, had car accidents with, jumped off piers or, cliff diving and went summer camping with, well, are those people who you want to be? So first of all, you have to identify who are the people you want to be around. Who are the people that are going to elevate you? And I know all of you guys are going to say, well, I want to be around Bill Gates or Elon Musk. That's way too far. It's out of your league. Start with someone who is making, just maybe add an extra 0 to the back of your number, how much you're making. And even that too is a lot. How about this? Add whatever number you're making, okay? Whatever income you're making right now, wherever you are in society, I want you to take that number and just double it. Just double it. If you're making 50,000, double it, 100,000. If you're making 100,000, just double it to 200,000. And then this is the homework. This is the thinking. You need to think, where are the 200,000 people hanging out? Who are they? Even when I was a broke bankrupt, on the verge of bankruptcy, single parent, I came back to my parents' place. I lived in the basement, but my parents now live in it was going from a middle-class neighborhood down even lower, and there's a lot of rentals. And it was just, the neighborhood was falling apart. I could have stayed at my parents' place for free, but I chose to move out, put myself under financial stress, and move into a basement suite of a nice big 5,000 square foot home in which husband and wife were both working professionals. It's a very nice neighborhood, golf course, because I wanted to change my environment. So everything, the environment I was in, the energy, the people, because that neighborhood was nice. I hate to sound elitist, but we didn't have car break-ins in that neighborhood. We didn't have, and all of this ties again back into how do you connect with people. It's how you set up your environment. So I read books, I get to know people. I'm not wasting time on social media, just liking posts and looking at all the dumb news. If I'm doing anything, I'm laser targeting like a sniper. I was in the military, so I learned, I was trained as a sharpshooter, and I'm casing my target. I'm trying to find out who I'm trying to reach to. I want to know everything about them. I'll give you a case point. So there's Brendan Kane over here. Okay, he's a famous author, Hook Point. He's even helped Vishen Lakhani, right, from Mind Valley, and he's very famous. He helped blow up Taylor Swift, right? If you guys know who Taylor Swift is. Well, guess what? If you go look at my LinkedIn, I'm direct connection with him. We are first level connections on Instagram. Him and I talk. Now, how did I do that? How did I do that? How do you get to that level? Well, first of all, how do you look? How does your social media look? How do you present yourself? The 200, if you're at 100,000 right now and the people at the 200,000, do you look like them? Are you making an effort to look like them? See, I have another mentor. His name is Dan Locke, and he always says, you can't get rich looking poor. Oh, but Desmond, look at Mark Zuckerberg and look at Steve Jobs. Yeah, when you make a couple of $1 billion, you can dress whatever fuck way you want. But until you do, don't look broke. If you want to, rich people will say this, you will never be one of us if you hate on us. So if your network is a higher level, and I hope they are, because they'll pull you up, you will be the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with the most, people you speak with, whether they're mentors. If I don't have mentors, if I'm in some small town that doesn't have access to that, the internet, you have no excuse. The internet is available. YouTube is available. There are books available. So my books became my mentors. I stopped spending time going to the bars, and I do enjoy drinking beers. Adam knows this. I enjoy drinking beers, but I stopped spending useless time watching sports games, and going out and feeling obligated. I had to go to friends' houses for barbecues, and those friends were not going anywhere. So step 1 was I had to change my environment. I moved to a different neighborhood. I had to change my friends. So for a time when I changed my neighborhood, it was kind of a pain in the ass to go to far to meet my friends, right? And so then what happened was I started getting access to higher level people. I started reading books, different vernacular, different business acumen, different phrases, different ways of thinking. And then, of course, I started attending events. Now with pandemics, you may not be able to travel while the pandemic's on, but if hopefully pandemics, they ease up, there may be more. You have to have a desire to do it. It's a pain in the butt. You have to pay money, hotels, plane tickets, traveling, car, gas, whatever it is, food when you're traveling. So that's an investment. So when I travel to events, I'm not just traveling to events just to have fun or just go learn something. I'm traveling there to make some connections. That's for sure. Adam,
That's awesome.
Does that answer some of the questions? And I'll let you kind of drill in a little bit more.
That's awesome. So I just want to make sure I really got this all right. So basically what you say, and thank you for being hard at, for those of you who don't know, Desmond's nickname is the Sarge. So if you feel it, like when he said like shame on you, he's not saying this because he hates you. He's telling this because he needs to wake you up. Because it is hard to understand this because we all believe it's normal. This is why we have the summit, to wake people up so they see if something's wrong in their life, take ownership. And yes, if I don't have $1,000 in my account that I can use when my mom needs my help, I should feel ashamed. And so thank you for that wake up. So, but to do the a quick recap of what you just said, I really want to make sure I fully understood. So first of all, what you said is, if you have absolutely no connections at all, start with the books and adopt the mindset. Second, change the environment, change how you dress, and become like a little bit of a relationship sniper. Look who you want to connect with. Because by reading the books, you will find who you want to be with, you will find who you like, target them, see what they do, and then see, can I be like them? Can I upgrade myself? Do I have the same habits? And if need be, change the environment. That's my cat Kisses. I swear in her past life she was a parrot. She loves to be on my shoulder. She's now part of this interview. Welcome.
That's right. Kitty loves Zoom calls, and so when we're recording on interviews like this, Kitty likes to be on camera. I always see Kitty jump on.
Yeah, she loves. So in this case, basically you change the environment, and even if it's hard. What you also said is, sometimes you have friends that you have things to you did things with them, might be great connections, might be great times, might have been something that you're not proud of, that still connects you. But you have to let go of that in exchange for changing who you are in the end by elevating your net worth. So
Correct.
As soon as you change who you are,
you want to create a hole. You want to create a hole, right, Adam? And that, as there's laws out there about how the gap will be filled. So I'm not saying get rid of all your friends, but if you can cut down 50%, just look carefully at where you spend your time, and if you can cut down 50% of that, and just even slowly, incrementally, some of these things will take time. I'm telling you, they take time to build relationships. It's not a rush thing, but it can be worth millions and millions and millions of dollars to you. If it could save your life, it could do all the things if you invest the time into it. So I would say, first of all, reduce. I slowly, progressively reduced the number of outings I went with my friends. And in exchange, you got to make sure you, with intention, you don't just reduce there and then go and put it to something other distractive, playing video games, for example, right? Watching porn, wasting time, just watching TV. You need to put that time into something. Stop putting your time into activities that do not increase your net worth. If you're doing low income activities, if you're mowing the lawn, if you're fixing your car, all those things are not helping you in the future. Those are things you can pay other people to do because, again, your time is very important. And if you want to connect with people, you have to have a genuine interest in them. So, start thinking about who you want to surround yourself with. If you're at 100,000, you want to get to 200,000, who are those people? And then how do you get to them? Now, of course, once you get to that, I'll give you the next one. Well, once you get to, say, 200,000, I'd even triple that. 600,000 people. How do you get to the people at 600,000? And then the people at 600,000, how do you get to the people, above that, right? Double that now again. Or just keep doubling. Make it simple. And how do you get to those levels progressively? Do you dress like them? Do you spend time like them? Do you do the same hobbies as them? That's how you get elevated. You get pulled up by these people. But again, once you're around them, now the question is, how do you develop the relationship with them? You start off by adding value. And I'll leave it at there. Adam, I'll let you ask your next question.
Yeah, because that's the thing. I want to also reiterate what you just said. This is so important because everybody says, oh yeah, cut down the negative friends from your life. But nobody actually says, and now use the time wisely, because people are like, oh yeah, I don't meet with my friends anymore, but now I'm at home all day and I feel lonely. Yeah, well, do something with it. Okay, so now we dress like them, we are like them, and I can hear already somebody say, but Desmond, you're telling me to give up who I am. This is not me, so I have to dress like other people. Like I'm just dressing a costume, I'm just cosplaying, and I'm just acting as someone I'm not, just to connect with these high-level people. What are you telling me here?
You can do whatever you want. I'm not telling you what I can't change you. You can do whatever you want, but you just have to be very real with yourself. If you're happy where you are, then happiness, money doesn't always equate to happiness. You got to be happy with yourself first. But if you're someone, I'm speaking to those who want to elevate, who want to change, who are open to change. If you're not coachable, then listening to me is not going to help because you don't want to change. Internally, you don't want to change. You're resistant. But usually the people who are listening is because you're sick and tired of something, or you're trying to get to another level. And if that's when you're open to coaching, you're open to mentorship. And then that's when my words click in. So my simple answer for the people who actually say that, please continue the way you are. I live a very good and happy life. I have a methodology of connecting with people, and it opens many doors to me. If you would like to learn from me, you're going to have to be coachable. If you keep trying to find ways why it's not going to work, this is not going to work. The relationship is not going to work. But if you try to find ways of how it is going to work, or sure, I don't really understand what you're saying, Desmond, but I'm willing to try. I'm willing to give it a shot. Great. I'm willing to change. Change is always uncomfortable. Nobody likes change. All humans, we're wired not to want to change. But I can guarantee you, I'd rather go through the pain and the hardship of trying to figure out the change than to stay where I'm at. Because where I was in a very, very tough place in my life, and my kids were growing up, and I was a loser dad at that time, and I was a loser husband, and I did not want to remain there. So I had to do something to change. And so I surrounded myself by people that inspired me and elevated me. And I purposely did that because I knew deep down inside, if I can be vulnerable with each and every one of you, I was lazy. I was a mess. I was disorganized. I was the personality type that is always talkative and running all the plays and talking a big game and never producing any results, making big dumb mistakes and self-sabotage and risking. And then I put my family at risk. And I'm getting older. And that's why I said I'm speaking to the older crowd here. I'm running out of time. You can only make so many mistakes. You make a mistake, you lose you lose 5 years of your life. You just went backwards. You got to rework that. You don't have that time. You're getting older, you're getting tireder. So I saw that, and I was making my family suffer. So I had to change. So how did I change? I surrounded myself with people that were stronger in the areas that I was weak. That was the first thing. That was one of my first motivations. I was like, man, I'm really weak at being organized. I'm really weak because I'm the talker kind of guy rather than the guy who actually implements and get things done. Well, how do I surround myself around those kind of people? Because if I surround myself with them, they will hold me accountable. So I think accountability, even if you don't find a mentor, you don't try to connect with some big level person. It's like, imagine if you're overweight, and imagine if you eat a lot and you drink a lot, and you just know you're weak. I'm just gonna say it this way, okay? You know it, you know that you fall to temptation. I shouldn't drink that milkshake late at night. I shouldn't even drink that chocolate milk late at night. Oh, but that bowl of cereal with that chocolate milk and having that donut, late at night. Or that even the leftover, and I'll just order it 24 hours. I'll just order that hamburger. It's even though it's midnight. That's you. So the best way to do that, to change, right, your environment is you don't have to be around people with six-pack stuff, but find people who are just a little bit healthier than you and surround yourself, and then be vulnerable, show them who you are, right? And then ask them to hold you accountable. Because when you are public about it, and now you're surrounded by people who are at a higher level than you, you can't help but actually improve and become better. Of course, people fall off those kind of accountability groups and they go hide. That's because they know that if they're public, they have to change. So we all don't want to change. We're actually fighting ourselves. I purposely surround myself with higher level people because I know that it forces me to know the charlatan that I am or the disorganized person I am, and then they elevate me. I can't be.
You just said something there's. Sorry to interrupt you, but you said something extremely important right now. Because people that say, oh, I'm just dressing up, they don't have the mindset yet. They think they're dressing up and it's not them. But what you just said is, you are the charlatan in the beginning, but what you're trying to do is to make that a reality that you're not a charlatan anymore. So you want to change, so you have to fix everything you can until the rest of you catches up. Is that what you're saying?
Correct. And I think this is a phrase that's been used by many motivational speakers, or, be, do, and have. It's not, everyone always gets it wrong. Everyone wants to have the have at the end, but you got to be first. Who's the person you need to be? Then you got to do the things of what the people that earn that amount or get to that level, do to have. And let's take out the money situation. I'm going to go back to the weight one and health again. You first got to be a person who's healthy. Then you got to do things that healthy people do. And then you'll have the body of what a person who does that. Well, I'm going to take it even one step further. To be the person is really hard. I don't know because I've never done it. You don't know what you don't know. So I surround myself with people who are doing and who have it. And then they help me to be, because I surround myself with them. I change my environment. So I get to be what they're like. if I want to be a millionaire, if I want to be an entrepreneur, I'm going to first be, I'm guessing what it's like to be a millionaire. I start thinking like one, but then I'm going to surround myself with millionaires because I'm watching what they're doing and what they have. And naturally, by hanging around them, I see what they do, and just like a kid, we copy what we see, and I just do what they do. They wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning. They have morning meetings with their teams. Well, I guess I got to do the same thing too, right? And then I'll have all the results that they have, do have. So it's one of the important reasons of, again, going back to, you brought me on here to talk about relationships and why I'm going deeper to get the results. Why a relationship so powerful for me is because I know I'm weak. I know that I'm lazy. There's an inner child in me, there's an inner demon in me sometimes that wants to be that lazy and wants to hide, wants to eat the food late at night, and wants to do all these things. But in order for my family to succeed and be healthy and be, prosperous, to catch Desmond at his own game, I have to surround myself with people who are better. And it forces it keeps me in check.
And so you give tremendous value to those people because, right, everybody wants to have those people around them. So to enter that network and not be somebody that drags them down, you provide tremendous value to them and you see how you can connect them. So you fit in, you are allowed to stay there, you earned your keep, and then you become like them, and then you are. And then you have what they have, correct?
Cool. So now you're talking about the value. So let's talk about that, because I've given you guys now all the philosophy, and I think you understand that, right? I'm hoping that, and if you don't, please, message to Adam here, and we'll connect and we'll find ways to get you further information. Okay. Now let's talk about value. So there's a very simple thing. We hear this all the time. You might watch YouTube videos and people say, "Oh, give value, give value." Well, what does value mean? So I'll give some examples. Okay, giving value could be something as simple as one of my biggest mentors that I had for quite a long time. When I first met him, he was a multimillionaire. I just come back to Vancouver on the verge of bankruptcy, single parent. I only had one suit left, and I had to drive this beat up, ugly old brown van, to downtown Vancouver. And he was hosting an event at this place called the Vancouver Club. It's a very wealthy, it's a private members club, only billionaires and multimillionaires. They always say the members of the Vancouver Club are the people who built Vancouver. They're the founders. People have been around for 100 years. They're the tycoons, right? And so I was like, wow. And I came from the hospitality background. So when I went there, I was like, who puts on a meetup? Who puts on an event at this place? They must be someone. So I go in there, and I was naturally very intimidating. He's a speaker, and I'm in the back of the room, and I'm trying to look good, but actually secretly deep down inside, I was broke, and I was like worried that I probably didn't even pay for parking, and I was worried I was hoping I'm not going to get a ticket because I couldn't even afford parking. And I thought to myself, like, okay, I have no money. What can I give of value to this multimillionaire? So I studied him, and I was looking, he likes to have publicity. And guess what? I know someone, I fortunately happen to know someone who worked at a TV station, and they put on a show, the You and I show. Now you might say, well, Desmond, I don't know anyone. So you got to start. You cannot keep saying that I don't know anyone. You got to start somewhere. You got to start getting to know people. I know all the names of every single waiter, waitress, wherever I go. That's how to influence and influence people. You just got to start getting to know people, and eventually you will know a lot of people. So I knew this, I knew this lady, and I connected the mentor. He wasn't a mentor at the time, but I connected him, and I said, would you consider putting him on your show? And he was very gracious and very appreciative because I helped him to get publicity. Right now, you don't have to do something as complex as that. Another mentor. This is even when I was even younger, way younger. I was in a neighborhood that was very wealthy, and I'm probably about 19 years old at the time, 18, 19, and I was kind of already helping this young Taiwanese student who was just living here, and I'll say, hey, let's make some money, let's be entrepreneurial. Canadian way, let's go mow some lawns. Even though that's kind of a 12-year-old thing to do, we were like 18, 19. I said, let's go mow some lawns. And so we went, pushing this cart around, a super hot day, and a big neighborhood. So, like from driveway to driveway is really far. But as we're coming out of a cul-de-sac, this Land Rover rolls in, and we just come away from a house that no one is at. And the guy, the owner rolls down the window. He goes, can I help you guys? We're just coming off his driveway, big long driveway. And we're like, oh, we're just a bunch of students, and just trying to mow some lawns. And he goes, no, I don't need you guys. My property's too big, and you guys wouldn't be able to mow. He's got like the drive kind. He goes, it's like a couple of acres. You guys will not be able to mow my lawns. But are you guys handy people? Can you work with some tools? And we're like, yeah. What do you need? He goes, well, my house is about to start renovations next week, and I just need some helpers to help the construction workers to take all the rubble and all the demolition stuff out. So giving value. So we went there, right? And and we showed up for work, and we worked part-time, and we worked super hard without expecting any pay. Well, guess what? This guy was the owner of a diamond company. He used to have a helicopter fly into this backyard and land in the backyard. He was one of the major investors for the places, all the cabins and all the real estate, the booming market in Whistler, where, millions of dollars. And he was developing that. And I got to know his family. We got to know him so well while we were renovating his house for the entire summer. We got to jump and swim in the swimming pool, play on his tennis courts. And he would take, I got to know him and got to find out more about him and his family. And he would pull me aside and he taught me about diamonds. And he taught me about the diamond trade. And he taught me about some of the real estate things that he was doing. And that's how you find a mentor, because I was giving value first. So if your mind is open, you will find infinite numbers of ways of giving value. Whether it's a connection, whether it's an offering of service. Don't go say to a mentor or someone you want to connect with, oh, can we do a lunch? Can I pick your brain for free? Buy them lunch. Buy them lunch. Can I offer you lunch? Can I pay for you? I will reach out to many mentors many times. For example, I just mentioned the book. Well, one of the reasons I connected with Brendan Kane was not only do I have his book, I promoted his book. I sent it to a lot of different people. I sent his book to a lot of marketers, digital marketers that I know. And then after I'd done that, then I paid for it. I paid for the books on Amazon. And I sent it as a gift. I read his book. I know his book. I sent it as a gift. And then I sent the message to Brendan, and I say, hey, Brendan, check your Amazon sales on your books. You've probably seen it's gone up a bit. Maybe not. He's a great marketer, so he's probably selling thousands and thousands of books. But I was like, but it's just my message. I was like, check your Amazon book sales. They might have gone up a little bit. I just sent it to all my list, and I referred it, and I also bought some and gave it to my friends, right? My marketing friends. And guess what? Brendan sees that, he replies to me. And I was like, oh, Brendan, okay. And we chatted just a little bit, just back and forth. How you been? What's going on? Oh, really? Who'd you send it to? He's got a lot of people. He's very famous. So a lot of people are trying to reach out to him. And I just said, hey, Brendan, while I got you here there was a LinkedIn chat, and then we also had some Instagram chat. I said, I do interviews, right? Do you mind if can I book you for an interview? And he was like, sure, right? And I was like, just love to, and of course on the interview, I'd love to promote your book even more. I would love to, if you got some campaign that's going on right now. So I studied him first. I knew that this was his second book that come out, that he was trying to promote it. I was like, can I promote that book for you? Now I have that platform. It takes time to build up your following. I have a social media presence. I have some clout. You can see that I don't look like a bum. I don't look like a beginner. I do look professional. You can see that I've got some clout. And as you build more social relations, people will check your social media. They will see who you're connected with. He definitely checked my LinkedIn. He definitely checked my Instagram to see who I was connected with. And when he saw some of the bigger names I was connected with, now this is me, where you will be in the near future. Naturally, he wanted to connect with me. When you're first getting started, you may not connect with someone like him right off the bat. You won't be able to. But I'm giving you examples here of giving value. I would attend events. I'd be at a ClickFunnels event. And again, I mentioned it in the previous session, where I would sit near the VIP sections and I would connect. I would pay. Part of my travel budget would be to buy people lunches. I would love, I'd love to find out your story about how you got to the 2 Comma Club. I'd love to, there's the bigger earners at the ClickFunnels event, and they're making like the 8 figures, so they're 10 million above. But the people making, 2 Comma Club, that's like $1 million. It's actually, they're not very big people. You guys got to get out of your head that you think someone who's making $1 million a lot. $1 million people still fart, still take a dump, still, have bad breath in the morning, still vomit if they need, sometimes still bleed if you prick them. They're human. So you just need to find out and be interested in them. So I said, can I buy you lunch? I'd love to hear your story, interview you for your story. I might even write a blog for you. And are you promoting anything? Do you have any links I can help promote for you? Can I help get your message out to people? Like, what can I do to support you? Start off with that. If you cannot even ask someone, what can I do to support you? How can you give value? So you need to know who they are, what are they working on, and then offer to give value. Hopefully that answers your question, Adam.
It absolutely does. And basically what you're saying is, even if you have nothing, you know nobody, and so on, it's about the intention. And from what I'm hearing between the lines, what you say is that those people, once they have this level, they have this abundance mindset, they will actually respect your effort. Just as you said with Brendan Kane, right? He's selling millions of books, and the maybe 10, 12, 20 books you sell don't make a dent, but it's a little bit more. So he appreciates the effort. It's okay, this person is reaching out to me, is going the extra mile, and wants to connect me. And the next thing is, hey, can I help you? Can I help with this? I do interviews. Can I help promote your book? Next step. And so therefore, that is like, you get creative, but this is only possible because you have so much knowledge through the books you read, so much mindset changes because of the mentors you had. So that is how you go there. So I hope, guys, that you feel this because, and listen to this interview multiple times, because what Desmond just shared is priceless. And that also opens up the next question now. So you have a great network, and the
Actually,
moment
Adam,
that,
before you go to the next question, I want to
Yeah.
give one more extra bonus.
oh yeah,
Let's
please
say
do.
people get as far as being able to interview someone. And if you're very nervous about first getting to do it in your very first interview, keep it simple. A simple Zoom. Start off with people who are within your circle. Just get 5 done. Most people get really nervous about interviews. We're not going to sidebar too long and give you the whole process. So I'm just going to give you, you can watch lots of different trainings on that, or, I'll give Adam some other list of items you can do. But basically, when you first starting to do interviews, start off in your mind, just set a goal. I want to make 20 interviews. But then how do you eat an elephant? 1 bite at a time. So 20 interviews, that's a lot. So start off with your first 3 interviews. Interview people you know, people you're comfortable with. Jump on a Zoom, because there's a bazillion and one things you have to figure out. Sound, light, what questions to ask, start recording, stop recording, there's all kinds of things. Where to look at the camera or not. So there's a lot of things you need to learn. Here's my super fail-safe plan that works for all video interviews or shooting YouTube videos. Number 1 is shoot your first 3 videos. Shoot video number 1. And when you finish video number 1, I want you to review the video and find 3 things you can improve on it. Don't overly criticize it. You probably messed up at 20 different things, but who cares? Just find 3 things you want to improve and go shoot video number 2, hopefully improving those 3 things. At the end of video number 2, review it. So you can do this very fast, sequentially. Review video number 2, find 3 things you want to improve, go shoot video number 3. And I guarantee you by the time you get to video number 10, you're going to be so much better than when you were at video number 1. And when you get to video number 20, you're going to be so much better than when you were at video number 10. And maybe by that time, you've got confidence. You've now talked to enough people. You've kind of got a system in place. You know how to time it. Okay. Now, if you want to reach out to someone and do an interview, you don't look like a total rookie. Is that helpful for you? That's number 1. Number 2, when you're now starting to interview some real people, let's say, for example, you get an author. So I buy books a lot, and I will read their books, and I will connect with them I'll follow them on Amazon, and I will connect with them on LinkedIn, and I will send them a message after I've read their book that I really enjoyed their book. But I get that a lot from everyone. So the best way to get their attention is to sell their book, help sell their book, help promote their book. So if you're not so generous and you don't have the extra budget to buy books for people, I would, first of all, I would try to sell their book, recommend their book, right? So I have an Amazon affiliate link, and I'm not trying to make money from the affiliate link, but I will generally say, hey guys, I read this book, great book. I think you should get it. Highly recommend it. And and by the way, if you do get the book, can you let me know? I'll keep track of that. I got like 10. Now I've done it for 10 people. See, this takes work, right? But what's that relationship worth? How much is that worth to get through the gatekeepers, to get to that one important person, to get to Brendan Kane? So you got to do the work. You got to put in the time. So okay, now I track that. I've sold 10 of his books. Now I have the balls. I have the kahunas to go, hey Brandon, check your sales, right? They've gone up. Now I didn't say how much his sales went up. I just said his sales have gone up because I've recommended it to my friends and I bought the book. So I'm able to say that with integrity. Now when Brandon gets on my call, when we do agree to do the interview, here's one of the most golden tips I'm going to give you. As you start to build your network and you start interviewing people, okay, here's one thing you can do. You can say, hey, by the way, I've had several people on my show. Are you looking to connect with any one of them? I can make that introduction for you. All of a sudden, now your authority goes up with them. Now they see you as a trusted advisor, a trusted friend that can also be a door opener for them. Hey, Brendan, is there any one particular person that you're trying to get in touch with that you have not been able to get in touch with?
Beautiful.
Oh, I've been trying to get in touch with T. Harbecker. I've been trying to get in touch with, Jack Canfield. Okay, maybe I've never interviewed them myself, but guess what? I've now interviewed Brendan Kane. This is golden, guys. You need to start thinking resourcefully here. How can I get to someone? I will find where a Jack Canfield interview was done. Pay attention here, okay? Jack Canfield interview, Jack Canfield podcast. I will reach out to that podcast owner. Hey, podcast owner. Let's call him Adam. Hey, podcast owner, Adam. Hey, Adam. I noticed that you had an interview done with Jack Canfield only about 3 months ago. How did it go? My name is Desmond. I have my own show on the Desmond channel. How did the interview go with Jack Canfield? Great. Hey, Adam, I know you don't know who I am, but have you ever wanted to interview Brendan Kane? He is the author of Hook Point. He's also the guy who made Taylor Swift really big, and he's actually coached and helped. He's the book, The Hook Point. Do you know who he is? Right. And so then, Adam, what do you say?
Yes, I do.
Right. Well, Adam, would you like me to introduce Brendan Kane to you so that you can also have him on your show? Because I really love your show, and I love the guests that you have on your show. Would you like me to introduce you to Brendan Kane?
Absolutely. Like this is awesome. Thank you.
Okay. No promises. I'll try to reach out to him and try to get him on your show, because I think it would be really good for you guys. It'll be powerful and it'll add value to you. It'll make you look like a superstar. By the way, and so then I'll do that. Okay. Don't ask for anything. Just do that. And I'll say, hey, Brandon, there's another podcast I think you would get a lot of exposure on. I know the owner there. I know the podcast owner. See, I'm just a connector, right? I'm just being a connector. Brandon, I recommend you get on his show. It'll give you great exposure, sell your book more. So Brandon says yes, right? Now, once Brandon says yes, as that's happening, once that interview is done, hey, Adam, how did the interview go with Brandon?
It was awesome. Like, this is so cool. Like, he was super chill. Thank you so much for the introduction, Desmond. I appreciate it.
Okay, so just be careful of the steps here. You can do it one or the other. I normally wait till there's a result. But say, for example, the interview has not started yet. Just say Adam has said yes to interviewing Brendan Kane. I go back to Brendan Kane. Hey, Brendan, there's another podcast owner. He's agreed to he's a friend of mine, and he's, even though I just met him, right? I just got to know Adam, but he's a friend of mine, and he would like to interview you on his show. But better yet, he might even be able to connect us to Jack Canfield. Would that be helpful for you? How do you think Brendan Kane's going to feel about me right now? Right?
Like,
now I'm going to go back to Adam. I'm like, hey, Adam, by the way, Adam, I can get you Brendan Kane, but can you do me a favor? I know you just interviewed Jack Canfield.
This is so clever.
Can you do me a favor? Can you introduce me to Jack Canfield? Because I would really love to interview Jack Canfield. And on top of that, I think Brendan Kane would also love to connect with Jack Canfield. So I think he would love you even more if you connect him to Jack Canfield. Do you see how the spider web works? And this is what we call giving value in relationship. But people are not thinking about this. This is the level at which you got to think at. This is the golden sauce. But some of you are just getting started. Start small first. But this is how I work. Why do you think I have all these books behind me? It is instant authority. When I get on calls, people know, Mike Michalowicz from, Profit First, Jocko Willings, right? John C. Maxwell, Chris Voss, Peter Vogt, yeah, you name it, Ryan, Moran, all of these names, eventually it's social capital and it is relationship capital that pays dividends, pays millions of dollars, opens doors, if you can help them. But you got to think like that. Now, how do you think like that? Again, it goes back to the identity. Are you waking up and looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, I'm a connector and I give value? Because I do that. And that's why I be, and I do, and that's why I have. And I would love for you to have as well too, but you just got to start being first.
Desmond, that was just like pure mind blowing. That was an amazing insight. It's the master, like it's a super connector master. This is absolutely golden. And basically what you did is a real life working version of this one joke that is like, a man wants to marry his son, like he wants to make sure his son becomes like the chief of the World Bank, right? And he goes to the current director, like, would you employ my son so he can be the future director? It's like, no, why would I? Well, he's marrying the daughter of Bill Gates. So, well, then we can do this. So he goes to Bill Gates, like, well, will you let my son marry a daughter? So why would I do that? Well, he's going to be the next chief of the World Bank. So sure, let's do that, right? And basically, this silly anecdote, you turn it into something completely real that actually works, that not only helps you to become a better person, get a higher network, get a better environment, but you actually generate value for everyone you know through that message. Like everybody gets better because they know you. And then in return, automatically, your life is more valuable. This is absolutely brilliant, Desmond. Thank you.
Adam, and you've known me for many years. You know I genuinely care. If I connect with Brent, I'll find out about his family. I'll find, I know Ryan, and I know about whether he's married. I know he's got kids. I actually care about their families. I care about them. But I know there may be some audiences who may be watching this, and you might like, and you mentioned some anime or even cosplay or maybe Pokemon cards even, right? Well, think of it as like trading cards. I'm trading cards and I'm getting some powerful cards. My kids play with Pokemon cards, and some of them, I know adults that have got like a collection that's worth 200,000, 300,000 Pokemon cards. But it's kind of like that. These are assets. Now,
Yes.
please don't be cynical. Don't be cold-hearted and just think of humans as just cards to be traded. But it's kind of like that. It's kind of like that. What you saw me do that in that example was I'm kind of trading. But what am I trading? I'm trading actually relationship capital. That is the currency I'm playing with. I'm playing with that currency. And I made a decision a long time ago to be a master of relationship capital, to maintain that, to have that relationship capital. But Adam, I know you have another question you wanted to ask me. Feel free. And if not, I can always make a supplemental training or video if anyone else wants to know more details about these things. But if they want that, they got to work it. They got to earn it. They've got to, I'm not just going to give it away for free. These are secrets that I've been working on for years and years and years. So Adam, you come up with a challenge and you challenge them. They got to earn it. They got to get through the hurdles. We're not here to help losers win. We're in the business of helping winners win more, as
Yes.
one of my mentors, Dan Locke, would say. So that naturally rubbed off on me as well too. And I'm the same as well too. We're not just here to be a charity and hand out freebies. You got to earn it. You got to have skin in the game. You got to skin in the game. You have skin in the game. You'll appreciate it.
Yeah, those people who listen to this interview, they already paid for the all access pass, so they already showed that they are willing to do so. So we could think of a nice challenge. Might take a while, guys, but stay in the email list and you might get the invitation soon. But I have one more. I know you have like a meeting coming up, and I know you are super busy. So I have one more question I would love to ask you, because this is something that I have been struggling with tremendously when I was still in corporate. Many of my friends and connections have the same issue, and I've seen it in many different corporations I work with. How do you deal with, let's say you build a valuable relationship, you have this trust going on, but for some reason you didn't catch it that the other person just betrayed you. They try to take advantage of you. They try to use your network, create a deal or something, and then they just cut you out and throw you away. Or they just scheme against you and try to be nice and face up front, and in the back end, like they backstab you. How do you, first of all, protect yourself against that? Like, what can you do? And how do you deal with it when it hits you?
Prevention better than cure, as always. I don't think there's any one answer to that. It will happen. I think it's very naive to think that it'll never ever happen to you. And if it's never happened to you in your life, it's very easy because you don't know what you don't know. And so you just kind of go through life. It's kind of it's like insurance, right? I don't think anyone expects to get cancer. I don't think anyone expects to get hit hit by a car. But why do we have seatbelts in the car? Why do we wear it? Because you're in anticipation of something happening. So how do you best protect yourself against that? First of all, in general, what I do externally to develop relationship capital, I develop relationship capital within organizations as well, with people. I'm a people person, so I invest time there. Not everyone's like that. You might have more engineer type people who invest more time in their systems and processes. I invest in people. I invest in relationship capital. So because I have a good read on people and I have a good, my allies, right? Then my allies are also my eyes and ears. Many times, and it has happened several times in my lifetime that someone did stab me in the back. The higher you go, unfortunately, you will become a target. People will paint a target on your back. You have to not be naive, and you have to expect art of war, right? You need to know that the enemy is going to come and get you. And so you need to be aware that not everyone is being your friend. Some people are using my relationship capital to rise in ranks, and then eventually one day, it's called politicking in the company. Go talk to the CEO and then try to supplant me and try to do all kinds of other things like that. So things like that do happen, and they have their own intentions. They have, sometimes they don't even realize it. It's just their personality. It's their ethics. It's their character, their principle, that they don't even think they're doing anything wrong. They just think I'm just progressing up in I could do better than Desmond, so let me just do the job. They don't realize that I was the one who helped them grow, and then also now this is the way to repay me by, so it does happen. And the way to protect yourself is if you have friends within the organization, friends in high places. You've always heard that. In fact, a movie I really enjoyed watching, though it's a very sad story, is and I would encourage anyone to watch this, is the story of Oscar Schindler, right? Schindler's List.
Mm.
And in Schindler's List, again, ignore all the extremely the atrocities and everything else that happened in the movie. But if you pay attention to who Oscar Schindler was, the personality he was, he built relationship capital. In fact, that was one of the first movies that inspired me when I was very young, and I watched that movie. I was very young; I was probably just about my 20s, I think, when the movie came out. But it was a great movie. I was like, wow, he had all those friends with all those, all the military generals and all the Nazi party people, so that when he did get in trouble, right, when someone was trying to get, he had friends to bail him out.
That's why I say use it for good. Don't become another Schindler.
Right, exactly, right. You don't want, but I know that's kind of a morbid example, but that was a great example. I actually really liked that movie because of that. It showed how, first of all, he had like the last bit of money that he had, but he dressed up really well. He looked the part. Then he goes to the restaurant, and the first thing he does is he meets the maitre d', and he just puts up the money, and the maitre d' is like, yes, sir. And I used to come from that industry. I was the maitre d'. I was the concierge, right? And so he puts him at a really good table, at a good positioning, right next to where a lot of this high-level individuals, are going to be sitting. And then he's buying drinks for them. He's probably down to his last few $100s, whatever he had, Deutschmark back then, and he was putting it into investing in these people. And he gave them a good time, took lots of photos, with all these, some married men with women and stuff. So he's got some dirt on them now. He was a sneaky guy. But when he needed it, when he was in trouble, hey, I got this photo of you. Do you remember that night we were together? I'm not saying do that with people, but the more, I guess, learn the strategy was he developed those friendships, and he had people. I think there was a phrase in the movie as well too, where they said, Iman was trying to talk to him, and they say, I hear, you have this really weird ideology, like, you're a person who's grateful, right? Well, grateful just means, you bribe people, you pay people, right? A lot of things to get what he wants. Now, I'm not saying bribe to get what you want, but it's about capital. It's about getting something to people, adding value. So in the companies, okay, what do? I have eyes and ears in the company, always watching out for me. Why do they watch out for me? Because they're loyal to me, because I have done great things for them. I've gotten their back. I care about them. I've always given value without asking for anything back. So when someone stabs me in the back, they're the first people to come and tell me. And then, as a coalition, now even if my reputation has been tarnished or damaged, these people are going to bat for me. They're now normally stepping up and speaking up for me. It's something I can't give you a science on that. There's no control on that. You just have to give value first. So I protected myself by having people be my eyes and ears. Second, be a better read of people. That takes time to learn. I read people, and I can sense somebody is certain personalities. I know that they're going to be backstabbers. I know that you can read their personality, that they're the type of people that are they're just very selfish. You can tell that they're very power hungry. I try not to get too close to those people. Don't think I make friends with everyone. I pick and choose also who I make friends with.
Good point. All right. So in that case, what you just
keep
said,
your friends. You keep your friends close. You keep your enemies closer. You ever heard that? You keep your friends close. You keep your enemies closer. So I know this person's a snake. I know this person's going to be. My gut feeling tells me this person's going to be a snake. So I'm not going to be super chummy with this person. We're not going to go out for dinners and everything, but I keep them close enough. And then, of course, I've got other people that I'm really close with, and I'm always, oh yeah, oh, so you talked to this individual? Oh yeah, how did that go? And I'm, it's intel. It's intel. It's like being in, some sort of a clandestine, like a CIA or, MI6. I'm getting intel all the time. And where do I get my intel? Is because I have connections. I have people. I have talent, and I have assets in the organization who give me that feedback.
So what I'm getting from you here, and I really want to emphasize that everybody gets the point of this, because this is so important. You have a strong network that you built from the ground up. You're not just the kind of sleazy person that just talks to the big boss and, hey, mommy, daddy's talking, like the small fry can be away, but rather you make sure that you give everybody value that is in any way, shape, or form. In any way, if you want to have a relationship with them, you give them value, and it is not just to bribe them. I love that you brought the Schindler's List example as the negative example. People who bribe people, who pressure them, who blackmail them. It's the opposite of that. What you do is you give them genuine value. You care about their families. You know how you can help them. You connect them with people they need. You make their lives better because you genuinely care about them. And when you need them, because you gave them true value, not just fake value, just to get something, you give them true value, they will help you when you're in need. And that allows you to protect yourself against scheming. And at the same time, what I really love what you said is you don't make friends with everyone, because everybody thinks, oh, no, I can be friends with everyone. No, you can't. People will not align with you. So the people who you don't align with, that you get a bad gut feeling where spidey sense is tingling, what you do is you keep them close enough, but your big network keeps your back, basically.
Yeah.
Did I get this right?
Many of my very close network, I can speak very deep, confidential things to because of that deep trust. We know each other enough. I know enough about them. They know enough about me, and we have a deep sense of trust. And they're being on my eyes and ears. They'll tell me, oh, this person is trying to scheme behind your back. This person's actually doing these things. Okay, great. Can you keep an eye on them for me? Right. So it gives me an upper edge. It gives me a slight edge that gives me a competitive advantage over this person. At the end of the day, you cannot stop someone trying to blackmail you and trying to, they're going to try to do it. But at least you can be prepared for it so that you can mitigate some of the damage as much as possible. You can outwit them in the game. I don't want to go into all that. You can do the art of war, and you can outwit them in the game if you want to get into all the mental, fuckery of that. But I would say stay away from it. I prefer avoidance. I have a really good friend who's a Navy SEAL commander, SEAL Team 3 commander. In fact, people like Jock Willings and Chris Kyle, the sniper, and you hear about all these stories like the lone survivor, right? Marcus Luttrell. They all served with him. His name is oh my gosh, I'm having a.
Oh, you mean Larry, right? Like I think
Larry, yeah, Larry, actually, that's right, Larry. And so, oh my gosh, what a friend! If I can't remember, but Larry, he used to say to me, like, and he's, and they do really close quarter combat, and he's had to put people down. And I always said to him, I said, for home invasion, what would you do? And he goes, actually, Desmond, deterrent is always best. You want to deter people. So if someone is, the best protection is always prevention rather than cure. So he goes, like if someone's trying to come into my driveway, I want to deter them first by, if I flash he's American, right? So obviously flashing the shotgun, firing a shotgun up in the air. Now, if they're still coming, now you're gonna have to use lethal force and other things like that, right? He goes, but I would bar the door. Like, he's not trying to be confrontational. I'm not trying to be confrontational, though I know there's, crucial conversations and, hard things about hard things. You have to have the hard talks, but sometimes you want to get all the intel first and just avoid as much as possible. I'm not saying run away and tuck your tail between your legs and sweep it under the rug, but I would try to avoid as much as possible. And I use people, my network will even speak to that individual who's feeling bitter, maybe find out from them, get some intel. Why are they feeling so bitter about Desmond? Why do they, I noticed you've been, doing these kind of things. What's going on? And then they'll find out. Now, once I have that intel, now I actually go and confront that individual. I'm like, hey, you know what? I know, look, man, we don't get along. And for some reason, we seem to be, was there a miscommunication? Was there something that, now I'm not revealing that I know some of this information, but I know what it is. And it gives me an upper edge to have that conversation. Again, it's prevention rather than cure. Preventing something from escalating is even better. Now, you can't help it if someone wants to betray you. They're going to betray you, so be it. But then you have all your friends to support you.
Awesome. And when you say you use people, what you rather mean is like they basically leverage what you say, like the social capital. So it's not like you're taking advantage of them, but it's basically you call upon the relationship you already have, right?
Correct. Yeah, I mean deposits, right? I've been making lots of deposits, lots of deposits into the bank account. And when the time is, when I need it, I've got that emergency fund that I can call upon.
Awesome.
When we talk about give value, make people look like heroes. Make people look like heroes. So if you're in an organization, I give shout outs to people. I'm usually quite generous with my praise and appreciation of individuals. I will, because how do you do that? Well, you take your eyes off yourself. It takes you, first of all, have to not be a selfish person. So I pay attention. For example, I pay attention to what Adam's been doing. When Adam was first coming up through the ranks, with the mentor that we studied with together, I could see how hard he was working and how much effort he was putting in. And so when it came time for us to do, there was an event that we had to do and we needed a co-instructor. Well, what did I do? I elevated Adam and I said, Adam, why don't you come in to be a co-instructor? And that gave him the stage. I made him look like a hero. Sometimes we're in live webinars and I would shout him out, a shout out, right? I'd type in and be like, oh, Adam's been amazing. I noticed that he's been attending every single class. This is not flattery. This is not like, I'm not trying, it's not about that. I'm like, Adam has attended every class. He's been here. He's phenomenal. He's implementing, he's doing all the assignments. And that's why he's growing. That's why he's producing results. What do you think that did to Adam? Adam, in front of everyone, public. I have that authority. I'm speaking to hundreds of people and I give him a shout out. All of a sudden now Adam really starts to like me. I get him on the show. I get him on one of the live events and he co-instructs with me. All of a sudden now his authority rises. Well, guess what? That relationship starts to build between Adam and I. And that's just being very transparent. Years ago, how we first started. And over the years, we've done so many of those transactions between the two of us. And that's why we have these deposits where we can call upon it when we need it.
And what I want to add to that is what Desmond did. Like, this was pro level, because he wasn't just giving me a normal shout out. He was actually reading the posts I made in the groups. He knew exactly what I was doing, when I was doing it, and he was always referring to it to show me he actually cared, truly cared. And when I had when I was thinking about certain changes or so, he was the one who knew. Like, he was the one that, you know what, I heard you say that, or I saw you see that, or I talked to this person who talked to you in another role play, and I heard this about you. I have this opportunity for you. Are you interested, yes or no? And he always gave me that chance. And because of that elevation, I formed other valuable relationships that helped him again in turn. And so therefore, like, this is the thing, because he gave me so much upfront, I would never, ever say no to a favor he needs, and vice versa. And then sometimes, out of the blue, I come in and, hey, by the way, Desmond, I have something for you. You wanted this, right? Do you like it? Right? Or just send him a book. Like, I don't know, okay, this book will help you. Read this, right? Just out of the blue.
Exactly. Adam, you did. Out of the blue, a package arrived at my house, and it was a wonderful gift. I don't have the book here, unfortunately. It's so precious to me to actually put it upstairs in my bedroom right next to my bed. And, it's something I do read. And, Adam sends me this book. Like, I was like, wow, this is a wonderful gift. What do I do? So he reciprocated, and there was a time when I needed help, and I did not know where to turn to. And Adam was there for me. As much as I had been there for him to elevate him, now he was there for me when I needed him. And so that's a classic example of how this starts. We don't even have enough time to go into everything, but hopefully this gets those of you, the VIPs, on a right track. My challenge again, back to Adam again, I encourage all the VIPs, don't just listen to this. You're going to get value. I've attended hundreds of thousands of hours of training. The number one thing you want to do with a book, with a course, with an event like this that you're attending is to implement something. If you can even just implement 1 to 3 things within a 24, 48, 7-day period, okay? The faster you implement something, if it means reaching out to someone, take someone to strategize, to connect someone, to give value, let us know. Type in, comment, let Adam know that you did it. I would love to give you a shout out for actually being an implementer. I respect people who implement. I highly respect people who implement. And usually if you can show me that you've implemented, it shows me that you're serious. You come to me for a favor, there's a very high likelihood I may consider helping you out as well too, because you implement it. You show me that you implement. So if you can do that and you connect with Adam, I trust you to, you know my schedule. If you feel someone deserves it, have them reach out to me. We'll find a way that we can actually add value to them, and who knows where that relationship goes.
Exactly. And hey, you know what kind of a network Desmond has. It might be that because you implement, because you show up, because you do it, and we connect you, what happens? You might have a huge business breakthrough just because of one introduction Desmond makes to you. So use it. Desmond, I have been taking so much of your time. I am so grateful that you gave us this amazing golden nugget. It was a golden rain of perfect, it was actually on and was exactly what we needed to help make powerful relationships happen, connect to anyone you need. Thank you so much for that. And guys, implement what you just heard. I hope you liked this interview. Let me know, connect with me, connect with Desmond. And Desmond, I'll see you very soon, my friend. Bye-bye.